Stand by to launch FanStream Sports.
3, 2, 1. Let's start.
Hello, sports fans. Welcome to FanStream Sports. Nothing but pure sports. This is the JP Show.
JP, it is so good to hear you back on the air.
Stand by. Now, here's JP.
All right, welcome into a Monday edition of the JP Peterson Show. I can't see myself at all. That's probably a good thing. We're on the two-shot today. Nikki Geddes is in studio. Nikki Numbers from On 3 Sports. Good morning to you.
Good morning. Glad to be back. It feels like, I told you before the show, I felt like this was a long weekend, at least for me. And I was like, I got up this morning and I'm like, doing like show prep and everything. And I'm like, what's the news? What's the big story? I feel like I missed something.
Yeah.
And then
it feels like an old story, but it's new to us on here on Monday.
Yeah. The Bucs have hired an offensive coordinator.
Yes.
That happened on late Friday afternoon. I think it's because I missed it because I was in a car dealership buying a car. Congrats to myself and my wife, by the way.
That's your first car dealership negotiation through?
Correct.
Oh, we're gonna have to talk about that.
We're gonna have to talk about that later because I think there's a good story there.
Yeah,
but I think that's probably what it was. I just totally missed all of it happening.
You got to shut the world out when you're going through that situation. It's just like you got to be uber focused and like make sure you don't get destroyed.
Exactly.
By the car dealer. Yeah. All right. Cool. We got lots to get into. Josh Grizzard named the OC. For the Buccaneers, it's all about continuity. And that's what it should be about, quite frankly. When you have an offense that's fourth in the league and scores 30 points a game, you don't want to change anything if you don't have to. By the way, congrats to the Glazers for saving $15 million that they don't have to pay Liam Cohen. And now Josh is probably making like $1.5 million, $2 million. Who even knows?
Probably.
Who even knows?
Or not dishing out $6 million for Chip Kelly. I think that was the figure yesterday.
$6 million for Chip Kelly.
Yeah, that was the reported figure for the Raiders. $6 million.
Is he making more than Pete Carroll? What's Pete making?
Pete's probably doing pretty well.
He's probably doing all right.
Somewhere in the 10 to 20 range. Right. Yeah.
God, the coaches' salaries are just going crazy. And Liam Cohen getting $60 million guaranteed. Holy, congratulations, Liam! But my God, we can. We're not going to revisit the whole what the hell happened thing, but I think it's interesting to hear what the guys have to say about it. Baker Mayfield talked about it at the Pro Bowl. Tristan Wirfs talked about it. Mike Evans talked about it. And as predicted, these guys aren't butthurt by it. They don't. This is a profession for these guys. It's not about, he lied to me. He wasn't, blah, 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 blah. There's a lot of that stuff that goes on in the NFL. The Bucs aren't, pure as the driven snow when it comes to that stuff. It's just business. I understand they were pissed. I understand why they were pissed. They wanted a chance to counteroffer. They didn't get that chance. Shad Khan drove the damn bus and wouldn't allow Liam Cohen to leave. And money talks. If you wanted him, you should have paid him. And you didn't. So now you don't have him. Maybe the best thing that ever happened to the Buccaneers. Maybe the best thing that you didn't hire him as the head coach. Who knows? I'm certainly a lot of the character traits that he showed during this process, which I think are pretty much across the board for everybody in this business when it comes to doing contracts. And dealing with players is a totally different thing. You got to be authentic. You got to be honest. When it comes to contracts, there's a lot of dirty dealing that goes on. I wouldn't assign character flaws to people because they, did certain things. Their agents did certain things to get them more money. That's the agent's job. I think we need to just put all that stuff away and move forward with Josh Grizzard and talk about this young man who's incredibly smart, Yale educated, was a grad assistant there for many years, worked under David Cutcliffe at Duke, worked under Mike McDaniel at the Dolphins, actually survived 3 head coaches at the Dolphins, which shows he has incredible emotional intelligence to be able to stay on for that many coaches. And obviously survived different OCs throughout the whole thing. That's not easy to do in this business because guys come in, they want their guys. They obviously meet Josh Grizzard and go, wow, this guy's super smart. I want him on my team. So we'll keep him around. I think that's a great quality moving forward. And Liam brought him in, and he was a huge part of their third down package, which was number 1 in the NFL. So by all assistant coach measures, this guy checks all the boxes. He checks all the boxes. The only box he doesn't check is play calling experience. And where the Bucs obviously wanted to go with this was continuity. They wanted continuity. And that's what this is really about. For Josh Grizzard, this means it's almost exactly like Liam Cohen without the play calling experience. You don't have to change the playbook. You know the offense. You know the personnel. You know the third down packages better than anybody, which are critical in this game, obviously. So now it's just you're hitting the ground running. We talked about the importance with Liam Cohen of not having to go through another change of coordinators, which would have been the 9th for Baker Mayfield in eight years, I guess, or whatever it is, which is ridiculous. Or not even that long, but so many different coordinators. So the language stays the same. They can just move forward and perfect what they've been doing. Now we're not going to know about play calling until week 1. We're not. Right. And there's nothing we can do to sit here and anticipate how good the offense is going to be and how many points they're going to score, because the play calling and the sequencing is so important. You're never going to know that until it happens. So we can say all these things and hope that it gets to 30 points a game. I think in predicting this, the best thing you can look at is the personnel. The personnel doesn't change. In fact, the personnel should get better. The personnel should get better. The offensive line should get better. And this is a key. Kevin Carberry and Pacucci stay. Right. You know, when Liam came a poaching, the Bucs were like, go F yourself, bro.
But I love, too, speaking of that part, I love how, like, I've seen a lot in the national media has made such a big deal about the fact that, like, McAfee even opened up his show, I believe, on, like, Thursday last week, talking about the fact that the Bucs blocked the Jaguars from Carberry and Pacucci and everything. And it was like this big deal in, like, the national media. This stuff happens all around the league.
Yeah.
It's just not very publicized.
Right.
But I guess because of how the Liam Cohen thing went down, now it's like being framed as like, oh, the Bucs are doing this out of spite. They just don't want the Jaguars to have their guys, blah, blah, blah. No, Liam Cohen was trying to hire these guys for a lateral move. And as an NFL team, you are well within your rights to say, no.
They're under contract.
They're under contract with us. And unless they're getting a promotion, you're not getting them. So Liam Cohen, if he wanted to hire Kevin Carberry, well, you should have made him the OC.
Yeah.
And you probably would have gotten him. But he didn't do that. He tried to make him his offensive line coach. And the Bucs are like, hey, no. That's our offensive line coach. He's not going anywhere. And same thing with Pacucci and the role that he has with the Buccaneers. I think, if anything, this whole Liam Cohen thing that I think this is done, it's really hard. I think the Bucs have never really had a true rivalry with the Jaguars or the Dolphins. Really hard to do because you're in separate conferences.
Right.
If anything, now it feels like this is like somehow turned into a rivalry. It's a thing.
We're not going to play him this year unless we play him in the preseason. Yeah.
Probably going to play him in the preseason. If you have a joint practice, I'm sure everybody's going to be talking about it and everything. So if anything, that's what it's done. It's added a little juice to like this back and forth when you play him every 4 years or whatever, because you've never really had that in the in-state.
Well, and I think had the Bucs allowed it, oh my God, why would you do that?
Right.
The fan base would be apoplectic, and rightfully so. Why would you allow that? Because this is business. This is competition. Now, normally you would say, and I'm sure Pat McAfee and some of the guys did say, well, you know, these guys are just trying to make more money. They're trying to better themselves and blah, blah. Why would you block them? Because it's business and it's competition. Hell yes. And these guys are critical. I mean, holding on to Carberry and Pacucci, I think is huge, because I don't care what skill set you have or skill players you have. Without an offensive line, you ain't got shit. You got nothing in this league. You've got to be able to protect the quarterback. You've got to be able to have a run game that's going to complement your pass game. And as much as we want to give Liam Cohen credit for the run game, and he should get tremendous amounts of credit, we've also talked about it. We're not new to this. We're not new to saying Carberry and Pacucci were a huge reason this running game was as good as it is. We were talking about Carberry when he got hired and looking at that and saying, this guy's really going to help the run game. And I think he did, because he took this from more of a zone scheme to a gap scheme. He was the one who could really see. And I don't know what those conversations were like. Was it Liam saying, hey, Kevin, why don't we do this? Or was it Kevin saying, hey, Liam, we're not really good at the zone thing?
Remember, it evolved throughout the year. They started the year as a zone team.
Right.
And it wasn't really working to much success. And then they evolved into a gap.
When you looked at the numbers, like, wow, we're getting like 8 yards of carry in gap, and we're getting like 1.7 in zone. what should we do here?
Right.
I mean, it's like, and so I don't know how those discussions went. All I know is they got it right. They got it right. And from my experience, the offensive line coaches are the ones who drive that train. It's not the other way around. So I think having those two guys here was critical. And Jason Light, if he, and kudos to Jason Light. If he looks like the bad guy on the Pat McAfee show, who gives a rip? I don't care. This is our team, and we're going to make the decisions that are best for us. So, as I'm driving in this morning, I'm thinking, like, where do we go with this whole thing? And I think it's important to look at this from the macro. Like, where is this team now? Not just from a offensive coordinator's position, which obviously we have been absolutely focused on, and rightfully so, for the past 2 weeks. Now let's step back and look at what we have. Okay, we have a offense that was fourth in the league in points scored at 29.5 points per game. We have a consistent offensive line that's young and getting better. Now, Bredesen is obviously a situation you are either going to re-sign him or you're going to elevate Elijah Klein, and who knows, he may be better, and may be worse. I think the kid's really talented. We'll see where it goes. But I think they're going. The bottom line is you got Tristan Wirfs, you got Gedeke, you got Graham Barton now in year 2.
Cody Mauch played.
Cody Mauch
this year.
really got better. So I think you have one of the best. I think you have a top 5 offensive line in this game.
Agreed.
And you have one of the most dynamic running backs in the game who only started 3 games. And one of the games he started, we ran for 270. And Sean Tucker also ran, was the NFC Player of the Week. So that's another guy that's coming back with Rashad White and a healthy Chris Godwin, which I really believe they're going to get him back as well.
Yeah.
And an emerging Jalen McMillan and an emerging Cade Otton, who got so much better last year after the catch.
And my goodness, if you looked at this draft class, because now you have to turn your attention to that a little bit.
Yeah, that's where part of this macro we're going to look at.
The Bucs have the ability, if they want to, at some point, add a different receiver that's an upgrade upon the Trey Palmers, the Sterling Shepherds, those guys. Hell, if you want to throw it, this is a great tight end class. If you want to add another one of those guys,
that's fine with me.
You can never have too many weapons.
But Devin Culp
showed something last year.
Hell yeah, and Payne Durham.
I
like this tight end class as well, but we good.
Right.
Why waste a pick? In as good as this tight end class is, you don't want to use a premium pick on a tight end.
Oh, no.
For sure.
All your premium picks are going on the other side of the ball.
Good. We're good with tight end. But so this is what gets me so excited. If you can't tell, I'm excited on this Monday morning about this Bucs football team. So now you have the continuity on offense continues. That's why Josh Grizzard got the gig. Because has he called plays? No. Is he ready? Good God. Yeah, he's ready. If he's ever going to be able to take a step, this is the step. He knows the personnel. He knows, and I haven't even mentioned this guy, Baker Mayfield. Baker Mayfield may be the reason both Dave Canales and Liam Cohen got head coaching jobs more than anything else, because the guy's pretty damn good. And when given a good coach to work with, when given good players to work with, obviously Baker Mayfield's pretty damn good. Now, he's got to cut down on the interceptions a little bit, but if you're going to, account for 50 touchdowns or whatever it was.
I mean, 80% of the league would have taken Baker Mayfield's production last year.
Hell yes.
80% of the league.
Hell yes. And now he just continues to get better in year 3. So all this offensively, they're going to be fine. And you can make a case, and all the guys from the Pro Bowl, and we'll hear from Baker, we'll hear from Tristan, we'll hear from Mike Evans, who, by the way, wants to play on the Olympic team in flag football. I can't wait to see that. Can't wait to see our Olympic flag football team, men's and women, but that's in 2028, whatever. You got all these guys coming back, and you're going to, as you mentioned, augment them with a couple of pieces in the draft and maybe a free agency. Who knows? Now we go to work on the defense. And get that edge rusher in the draft at 19. Bring in a free agent edge rusher, because now you got some money to work with in salary cap. Bring in an experienced inside linebacker. And by the way, you have an organization where free agents want to come. This is now Tampa Bay is a destination place to play NFL football. You've got a lot of continuity. You've got the quarterback. You've been to the playoffs. What's not to like about Tampa Bay? Of course, no state income tax, blah, 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 all that stuff. So now a super attractive place to play, and you can spend all your time fixing the defense in this off season. the Bucs are in an extraordinary place. When you look at all the teams in the NFC and look where everybody's going, especially in your division, there's a lot of question marks across the board throughout the division. So let's just look at where, the Liam Cohen thing, look, it sucks. But as I said a couple weeks ago, let's see where we're at in a couple weeks and see where, because I can tell you this, a lot of the personnel is going to be the same. A lot of it's there's still going to be a lot of stability. Whether Liam Cohen was named the head coach or not, this team was going to be really, really good going into next year. And I'll probably end up saying what I said at the beginning of last year, that I love the personnel on this team. I like the camaraderie on this team. Obviously, the chemistry on this team, the culture is absolutely fantastic. For me, guess where I'm going? And now I also have to give my disclaimer. Love the dude. Great guy. The head coach is holding you back. I hope he gets better at game management. I hope he gets more aggressive. We're going to sit here and watch a Super Bowl, two teams that are uber aggressive on fourth down. They don't give up possessions. They're confident in their offense, which this coach should be way more confident in his offense than he is in his defense. And I hope he can get the defense right. He's done it before. He's had great defenses before. Has his defense become passe? We can make those arguments, but I'm probably going to sit here saying the same thing in September of this year. I hope the game management gets better. I hope he can win one-score games instead of going 2-6, because this team has the personnel to go deep into the playoffs. And I haven't even seen the draft yet, but I guess what? Jason Light's been pretty good at that recently. So there's no reason to think this team is not primed and ready to win a Super Bowl. The Bucs have been talking about this year coming up. They knew they had to fix the offensive line, and now it's time to fix the defensive line and get that edge rusher. And this is their window, the next 2 years, and we'll see what they do with Baker's contract, because he's going to have to get an extension at some point. And the window is open for quite some time for this team, but specifically this next year and maybe the year after. Things change so quick, you just don't know. But for this coming year, as far as the personnel goes, and again, we haven't even gone through free agency or the draft yet, Jason Light has a chance to hit some home runs here and really fill the gaps. So to me, the only question mark left on this team is game management and the head coach.
Yeah, it all comes down to, do you believe Todd Bowles can is he a Super Bowl level coach? And history suggests at the moment clearly he's not. But you look at look at the landscape of the NFC, this year, and even going to this year, Washington was able to get to an NFC championship game this year.
Yep.
From 4 wins
to
12 wins to an NFC championship.
And what did they change?
The head coach, a lot of the coaching staff, and then the
entire coaching staff, ownership. Yeah, and the quarterback's pretty good.
The quarterback was pretty good, but I look at that team. Good. I know that they beat the Buccaneers in that wild card game.
How much does that burn your ass now?
It does. It has to burn everybody's ass right now that the Commanders are able to beat the Buccaneers by just a little bit, right? Because it was such a fine margins, and then they go on to the NFC Championship game, and you're like, oh, could that have been the Bucs?
Yeah.
Because I look at those two teams on paper when I compare them, the Bucs to me have the better roster.
Much better.
Than Washington did. But you know what? That's why you play the games. It's not played on a spreadsheet. It's not played on paper. Play the games for a reason. Give Washington credit. But I look at what they did, and I say, why can't the Bucs go to an NFC Championship game? And then you flip to the landscape of the NFC, and again, we got to go through free agency and the draft. But just looking at it right now, Detroit had their entire coaching staff pilfered. I've never seen anything like this before.
Yeah.
Where not even just their top 2 coordinators in Aaron Glenn and Ben Johnson, they had other assistants that were pilfered throughout the rest of the league. So they have to remake everything. So is Detroit going to look the same?
No.
Probably not.
No.
Minnesota can never get over the hump as it is. Are they going to be starting J.J. McCarthy next year, who's an unknown, if they don't bring back Sam Darnold? That's certainly on the table. Green Bay's kind of a flaky team. I don't think anybody else in your division is ready to get to that next level.
No, the Falcons could make a move because Penix is really good.
Right.
And we know that. But they're strapped now with that freaking Cousins contract.
Yeah.
They're strapped. Like we said, why would you guarantee him all that money? Stupidest thing ever. So they're still strapped. And of course, New Orleans is just floundering. So yeah, the Bucs are in tremendous position on every most every level.
Yeah, and then too, like, the big story, which is obviously Josh Grizzard getting the OC job, and he's a first-time play caller, and we've been down this route before, but Dave Canales never called plays at any level, and while there might be some trepidation with that amongst fans or anything, I don't think there is this time around. Actually, I think this is a generally well-liked hire from the fan base, and I think around the league, a lot of people have spoken very highly about Josh Grizzard. I think it's really important, like you mentioned, the fact that he was in Miami for multiple coaching staffs and was continued to be brought back and stuff. I think that says something about his acumen as a coach. And listen, once upon a time, Sean McVay had never called plays.
That's right.
Until he did it. Kyle Shanahan had never called plays until he did it. Kevin O'Connell and so forth. You can go down the list of all the great play callers in the NFL. Not saying Josh Grizzard's going to be the next Sean McVay. Just pointing out you got to start somewhere.
Right.
And when you have this talent that you're working with, it's going to make your job really easy. And the fact that he's been in the building for a year, you basically skip phase one of when you hire a new coordinator. And it's like, oh, now I got to meet all the players. I got to talk to them.
None of that.
We're moving. We don't have to go through phase one.
Seamless.
We don't have to go through phase one.
Seamless. Yeah. The only fly in the ointment could be, and I think this is where culture comes in, is, what about the other coaches like Carberry, Pacucci? You look around and you say, oh, you just elevated the passing game coordinator. Now he's my boss. Josh Grizzard's my boss now. And you say, is there any, residual, well, how does he the boss now? How does he make? I don't see that being a problem. I don't see, because that call comes down to personalities. And I'll be honest with you, I don't know these guys on a personal level. So I couldn't even say that's the only thing I can possibly think about. But if that was an issue, Jason Light would not have made the hire.
And I don't think it will be an issue.
No, I don't either. I just bring it up because I'm trying to, think of everything that could be contrarian, that could come up and be a possible issue. But I think that's, again, that goes to culture. This is not an office, a building where there are people backstabbing each other and trying to, climb the ladder. You just never get that feeling. It's all kumbaya, rowing in the same boat and rowing the same direction. So I don't think that's going to be an issue at all.
Yeah, I don't think so either. And then the other thing too is if Josh Grizzard is a hit, the offense doesn't have much fall off, and they could put up 26 points per game, and I'd take it probably.
Yeah. But 29.5 is better.
29.5 is better for sure.
Yeah, because when you're talking about a lot of games coming down to 3 points, it's a big deal.
Exactly. So if he keeps it around that thing and it's a hit and everything, well, then guess what? Thank you, Liam Cohen, because remember, Liam Cohen's the one who brought Josh Grizzard along.
That's right.
So, I understand there's a lot of angst against Liam Cohen and everything.
That is going to be such a distant memory.
It's going to go away. And if
nobody's going to care.
If Josh Grizzard's a hit, we'll forget about it probably. And again, we'll thank Liam Cohen for bringing Josh Grizzard into the building.
And maybe Josh Grizzard is a better play caller than Liam Cohen. Yeah, and here's the thing. One more year of continuity. What is that worth? To me, that's worth 1.5, maybe 2. So that in and of itself, the continuity it makes your offense better in year 2. All right. Now, so what is the difference in play calling? How much of that 29.5 was play calling for Liam Cohen? I would tell you this. Most of it is, what's the old adage? It's Jimmy's and Joe's, not X's and O's. And when it comes to the NFL, a lot of people, especially now, it's a copycat league. Everybody's running the Rams offense. This is the flavor of the day. It's the new West Coast offense. It's, the Tampa 2. It's the thing that came along. Everybody said, that's a better mousetrap. We're going to use it. So everybody's using it now, and everybody's getting used to defending it. So what is the nuance? The nuance is play calling. It's sequencing. How good is Josh Grizzard going to be at that? We don't know. Is that the secret sauce that Liam Cohen brought? We'll find out. If the Jaguars, suddenly go from are the next Washington football team, and they go from 4 wins to the AFC Championship game, and the Bucs flame out in the first round, and Liam Cohen's still standing, we're all going to sit here and go, wow, that sucked. We got the wrong guy. We'll see. Time will tell. Now, look, the Bucs roster is so much better than the Jacksonville roster.
Correct. It's
unbelievably better. But if Liam Cohen, and I'm not worried about what goes on in Jacksonville. I'm really not. But there's no question that everybody's going to have the side eye. Buck fans are going to have the side eye. They're going to be like, are they really 6-1? Are they? Or it could just flame out, which is what Jacksonville does. So they got a lot of work to do over there. And it's not going to be just one season. if 2 years from now, that if they improve and then Liam Cohen and their offense gets that much better and Trevor Lawrence is, absolutely exploding as a quarterback, and the Bucs are still going 1 and out or 2 and out, and Todd Bowles is still an issue with this team, then you know what? The Jags won the day. They won the day. And so, and this is competition. This is what the NFL is all about. Let's go to work. And do you use that as a rallying cry? Sure, why not? Anything to, Baker Mayfield's going to do the Michael Jordan, right? He's going to find everything he possibly can to get a chip on his shoulder and motivate himself. Good. If this gives you a little bit more motivation, fine. Let's go. Great. Let's prove him wrong. Let's be even better. Let's be the number one offense in the league and say, hey, shot, and have him fire Liam Cohen and having to pay him $40 million to leave the building, and they're back where they started, which is probably what's going to happen because that's what happens in Jacksonville.
Right.
So, and the rivalry back and forth with the fans now is really pretty good. I mean, it's,
I just don't know what legs Jacksonville fans have to stand on now. I don't know.
Well, they got Liam.
That's
it. The only thing they got is they got Liam. Like, and they got Duval.
Oh, no.
They got Duval.
They
can't be happy about that.
It's so funny, though.
Your opening press conference, you were made a meme.
It's so funny, though. Like, they had the pitchforks out for Shad Khan literally on the Wednesday before Thursday when they made this move.
Right.
And then on Thursday when they make the move, all of a sudden you go on the Jaguars Twitter page and Shad Khan's their header photo. I've never seen an owner become the header photo for a team on Twitter. Like, now all of a sudden it's like he's a saint.
Well, listen, what's funny about that is, how did he get that way? What did he do? He fired his general manager, went rogue, and gave a one-year coordinator $13 million or $12 million a year guaranteed, $60 million guaranteed, say over the general manager position, and basically total control for a guy that's called plays for 1 year and had some success. Which, look, he did great. And Liam, did I want to be our head coach? Yeah, because I think our head coach is substandard when it comes to game management. He's great at a lot of different things, but in winning one-score games, which is pretty damn huge, and the defense wasn't great. We're not going to get into that. But yeah, I would have liked to seen that, but we didn't. We'll see what kind of head coach he is. But the only reason Shad Khan is being elevated is because he went crazy and got drunk and spent $60 million on a one-year coordinator. Like, what are the chances of that working out? Not good. Not good, especially with the crappy offensive line that you have in Jacksonville. You got a lot of work to do. It's not like, you got a portal and you can bring in a whole new offensive line. It takes time.
And your quarterback is not Baker Mayfield.
It ain't Baker Mayfield. He might be better. I don't know. But the results are not good. He's had one good season.
Right.
One good season. And it's so much to be told. But that's all Shad did was go out and spend a bunch of money. Got a trophy wife. Yay. What'd you do? Oh, I went out and got a trophy wife. Yeah. And she don't love you because you're a great dude and you're very handsome. She loves you because you just gave him $60 million guaranteed. That's why she's here. Him, whatever. You get the analogy. So what did he do? He drunk spent. He went shopping while drunk or whatever it was. But that's crazy. Like, that's unprecedented what he did. Now, you know what else is unprecedented? Trading 2 1s and 2 2s and $8 million for a head coach was just what Malcolm Glazer did.
Yeah.
And you know what he got him?
A
Lombardi trophy.
Yeah.
So that's what makes this league great. Let's see what happens. This is the ultimate reality show. And it's scripted. So
and we'll find that out. We'll see that in 6 days.
When Travis Kelce hits his knee on and the confetti's coming down and Taylor's right there, we'll all go, yeah, like we said, it's scripted. Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, it's the ultimate reality show. And now let's find out who made the right decision. Let's find out if Shad Khan's dealings in the middle of the night and, shutting off, making Liam Cohen go off the grid so the Bucs couldn't come back and get him and counteroffer. Let's, is that going to be the move that pays off for a Lombardi trophy and is going to be canonized one day? Or is Shad Khan going to look like a complete freaking idiot in 2 years when he fires Liam Cohen, has to write him a $40 million check to go away? We'll see. Yeah. We shall see.
To close this segment before we have to hit the first break, Rick said, Jacksonville is the morning after a one-night stand. Oh, man, we're still the Jags.
I mean, she looked good last night, but now she's in the building going, Duval. Oh, I saw. I retweeted that. My old friend Dan Hicken at XL1010 over there, and they were all, they were playing the hits and the DJ music and dancing around because they just won the Super Bowl. Well, when he went Duval,
Such a stupid thing they
did
say.
the music go? I don't know. Did it? We'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see. All right, we'll take a break. We'll come back on the other side. Jason Powers is going to join us. He was the head referee for the Pro Bowl yesterday. Our good friend here, who we friend of the show, has been on the many, many times. Has a great podcast himself. So we'll talk about him with him about the Buccaneers, but also about being the guy in the stripes for all these Pro Bowlers. This is going to be good stuff. Jason Powers will join us when we come back. We're brought to you by the Jeeves Law Group, JEEVES lawgroup.com. We will always tell you if you've been involved in an accident, the Jeeves Law Group, they are local, they are trusted, and they get results. Don't go with some bigger firm that would just make you a number. Stay local. Offices in St. Pete, offices here in Tampa. They are local folks that support the local community. That's who you want to go with, Scott Jeeves and the Jeeves Law Group. Go to jeeveslawgroup.com. You can email them or call them and get a free case evaluation. Jeeves Law Group, JEEVES lawgroup.com. Back in 3.
Ciao, Paolo Tini here, owner of Caffè Paradiso, voted number 3 People's Choice Award on Open Table. I want to thank all our loyal family of customers that have been enjoying our great traditional Italian dishes we make from scratch every day. It's a great family story we're proud of. Our family moved from Rimini, Italy in 1984. My dad, Caesar, started Donatello, and that's where I got the start in the restaurant business. I started Caffè Paradiso on South McDill in 1995, and we've been there ever since. From our traditional ossobuco, a veal slow roast for 4 hours, to our daily fresh catch, the Gruppo Paradiso, with a piccata sauce and lobster claw meat, homemade pasta like lasagna, farfalle salchicha, which is a bow tie pasta homemade with fresh sausage. Hold on a minute, JP's favorite.
I love it.
So come and have a glass of wine with me on South McDill. Get a reservation on Open Table and see all our 5-star reviews. Ciao, see you soon at Paradiso.
So many of our Tampa Bay neighbors are finding out the hard way from Hurricane Helene that homeowners insurance does not cover flood damage. You must have flood insurance. It's a separate policy. Immediately call Italiano Insurance at 813-877-7799, and they will shop around to find the best policy before rates go up. Lock it in. Over 60% are underinsured in Florida, or you're not getting your discounts that you're entitled to. So do an insurance checkup at Italiano, and they could save you thousands of dollars. Italiano will make sure you're with a highly rated insurer, so there are no surprises in your time of need. Our hearts go out to all our neighbors devastated by Helene. These are the times we're proud to protect all the pieces of your life. Italiano Insurance, 813-877-7799. Old Hurricane Helene put a hurting on Tampa Bay, and for many of you, the rebuild will be a long process. You must beware of unscrupulous contractors offering up quick fixes for incredible prices. It's a scam. So go with long-standing reputable companies like Third Generation Plumbing and AC. My friend John Rodriguez has been serving Tampa Bay since 1995 with hundreds of 5-star reviews. If you need a new AC system or any home repairs from Helene, they will work with insurance companies to get you taken care of quickly, expertly installed, of course, and a 1-year maintenance plan and 10-year warranty included on all AC units. 0% financing for 60 months. Contact them at thirdgenerationplumbing.com or 813-961-8024. That's 813-961-8024, thirdgenerationplumbing.com.
Let's go. Right now, back to the show on FanStream Sports.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show here as we come to you live from the Jeeves Law Group studio. We got our 2-shot on today. We've got the cameras installed, so say hello to all the folks out there. Hello. We are brought to you by Italiano Insurance. Folks, this is a great time to get your insurance checkup. Make sure you got flood insurance. Make sure you got business insurance if you're running a business, even a small business. And make sure that you are fully insured. 40% of the folks out there are not fully insured. You don't have enough coverage. So when you get to the replacement cost of everything and you don't have enough insurance, you're screwed. So make sure you have enough insurance on your home because your value of your home goes up. So I know you don't want to tell them that because then your rates go up, but that's why you have insurance. So call them at 813-877-7799. All right, let's bring in our good friend Jason Powers from the Powers on Sports podcast. What's up, Jason? How are you?
How are you doing, JP? Nick, things good?
Yeah. Are you okay with all the verbal abuse that you took yesterday? Are you all right?
Yesterday might have been the least verbal abuse any referee ever takes in their history working the Pro Bowl. Very little of that.
Oh, good. What was it like?
It was awesome. It was a great opportunity to be around all those guys. You've been there around those guys your whole career. To be right next to those guys, I got to talk to the Bucs guys. I talked to Baker a good bit. I talked to Mike Evans, Tristan, and just being able to communicate with those guys. I mean, Jared Goff, the Mannings. I mean, they're all there. I mean, these guys are stars, but 99% of them are very personal, which was great. I mean, that's the cool thing is that they they're just like you and I. They put our pants on in the morning just like you and I. They just happen to be great football players, and it was a really cool experience.
Yeah, their pants are a lot newer though.
Did you
a lot more expensive.
Did you have any complaints from players or anything, like any of the calls you made? Because I think we all understand, like, we're watching, like, they're trying to have fun and everything, and obviously you're the head official and you're trying to call this game like a regular one. Were there any complaints or anything you heard during the game?
So there's a couple special rules in the game. There's a rule where each team can blitz one time, where you can blitz more than one player. And there was a play at the end of the game where the AFC had an interception return for a touchdown, but they blitzed illegally, so we had to call the penalty back. And I told the funny thing is I told the whole defense before the play, hey, guys, you can't blitz. And they basically told me, we're blitzing anyway. We're blitzing anyway. I was
they dared you.
Blitz for the quarter. You can't blitz anymore. They blitzed anyway, so we had to penalize them. So they had a good laugh about that. But no, they were. You know what one of the coolest things was? The littlest guy in the game, Cavante Turpin from the Dallas Cowboys. If you looked at this guy, you would have thought this guy was a sophomore at Hillsborough High School, thinking this guy's an NFL Pro Bowl player. I mean, it was unbelievable how little he is, but it just shows you how great of a player he is to be able to be amongst those elite players. They used him as a rusher yesterday, most of the game, which was a cool thing if you watch the game. But just some. And we're out there Saturday for practice, and Cavante Turpin, millionaires everywhere. He pulls out a disposable Kodak camera. Not even using his phone, a disposable green one that you take to CVS. Click, click, click. Taking pictures of everybody with a disposable camera. It was great.
That's awesome. Did they give you a script for the game, the NFL?
We did have some timing. We did have some timing rules. The timing rules did change throughout the game because of TV. So we did have to alter the timing rules. Yes.
So it's a TV show, and the producer was telling you what to do. It's what we've always thought. Right, exactly. That's the NFL. So what else did you get out of the experience? Did you have any? By the way, when you were talking to Baker and all those guys, you're like, "What do you think about your OC?" What do you think
did actually ask him that during the game TV timeouts, and I said, "Hey, what do you think?" And he goes, "I swear to God," and he goes, "Grizzard's a pretty good dude, so we'll see." Yeah, I like Grizzard, and we'll see. And I don't know if you guys saw the shot. Baker snapped the ball at the end of the game. He was the center.
Yeah.
He had his camera right on the ground next to him, live recording it while he was getting ready to snap the ball. It was tremendous.
That's so cool. Those guys were having a lot of fun. I'm sitting there watching it going, you know what? When I'm watching them play in pads, I'm just bitching and moaning like, what are they doing? This is stupid. But the flag football I enjoy because I played flag football for about 20 years. So I love the game, and I love seeing NFL players play the game. I know they're not going 100%. But I think it's great. I mean, I think it's the best possible world for the Pro Bowl. You can bitch and moan about all of it, but you were down there on the field, and it seemed pretty cool. I liked it.
Oh, it was a great atmosphere. I mean, again, these guys were taking it. You're right; they're not going all out, but again, a lot of these guys though, they'll run their route. These shorter intermediate routes, they run them pretty hard. I mean, you saw a couple contested catches by a couple of the guys yesterday, and boy, you get a sense, and I know you guys both know this. When I'm standing right next to Joe Burrow, when he flicks his wrist and that ball goes 25 yards on a rope on a skinny post or something, it's pretty impressive. And as athletic, I mean, you don't realize how tall Mike Evans is. Mike Evans is a beast when you're standing next to him in person. Joe Burrow is he's every bit of 6'5", 6'4", 6'5". I was next to Jared Goff. I was, Drake May was in the game. You don't realize how small Russell Wilson is. Russell Wilson's maybe 5'9", 5'10" at best. I mean, he is not very. And give. I know there's a lot of issues with Russell Wilson, but give him credit to play in that league and as well as he has at 5'10". That's saying something.
Well, even on TV, at one point they showed it was Vita Vea standing next to Dexter Lawrence, and I mean I guess the amount of meat between those two dudes just sort of just standing next to each other. And I think Jason Kelsey was interviewing them. It was before the game. Kelsey's standing in the middle, and I know Kelsey's probably lost a little weight since he stopped playing, but I'm looking at this and I'm like, these guys just go to battle like every game, like for 60, 70 plays. And I'm like, this is just, it's nuts. It's absolutely nuts, like the size of these guys. But I was going to ask you about this one because over TV, I actually thought the best part of this entire thing yesterday was the punting competition they did on the side, which I don't know what happened there where that turned out to be like absolutely electric between Logan Cook and then I forgot the was it Fox, I think, for the Lions.
Triple overtime. They went to triple overtime, I think.
They went to triple overtime. I mean, did that come over across in person as it did on TV for how fun it was?
Oh, yeah. And the cool thing is all the players were into it. All the guys that were for both teams. I mean, Mike Evans was going nuts when they won it at the end. I mean, the guys, give the guys credit. They were pretty into it. And obviously the Mannings were into it. But yeah, that's the cool little things about that. And, they do. The NFL does a good job with this event. They don't try to make it too serious. It's a very laid back event for everybody. They do a excellent job keeping it loose and keeping it real. Remember, these guys are playing for money. The winning team got like double what the losing team got. So there is some competitiveness involved. I mean, I could tell in the second half it amped up a little bit because they're playing for some dough now. Everybody gets some money, but then the winning team gets a bigger chunk of money as well. But yeah, you could tell, guys like Micah Parsons were out there. Tristan Wirfs, obviously. I said something to Baker when he was the center. I said, "Hey, Baker, just remember, you can't go downfield and block somebody." And he goes, I want to. And I said, "No, I know you do, but you can't go down and block somebody here when you're the center." So, again, those guys are super nice for very, 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 for the most part. There was one guy that I won't say, kind of a little bit of a diva, and you could probably figure it out, diva. We talked about him a few seconds ago. He might be a little bit of a diva, but yeah, it was great. The line, I talked to Vita Vea on Saturday at the practice, and I said, "Hey, Vita, they're gonna have you running a wheel route out of the backfield."
Yeah,
because they were out, the big guys were running routes on Saturday and having a good time. I was like, we got to get you running a wheel route out of the backfield in this game tomorrow.
No. Yeah, in that game. But when it comes to when he's in the backfield for the Bucs, we don't need him going out for passes. Just block. Yeah. Just right. Nail somebody and get on his hip and follow him into the end zone.
One more interesting thing. How about this thing? You knew who the coach was for the NFC, and I kind of felt bad for him. Thad Lewis, the quarterback coach who didn't get the OC job. And again, I don't know how much was he in the mix or not. I don't know, but
I don't even think he got interviewed.
No, he interviewed for some other OC.
The Raiders.
Did he? Okay.
Yeah. That's the one thing I was thinking, like, that Carberry or, you got Carberry, Bercucci, you got that Lewis, were these guys also considered for OCs, and the fact that Grizzard kind of jumps over them. Right. Like, I don't know what the hierarchy is, and I'm not in that building. I do know this. The culture is fantastic. It's not a culture of backstabbing like there has been in that building before. You just sensed it. There was that feeling when Dirk Cutter and some of the, Schiano, there was a lot of every man for himself. You never get that sense here. So I don't think it's going to be a problem. But yeah, if I'm Thad Lewis, it's like, what about me? When's my turn? You know? I don't know.
Interesting. Like I said, it was just interesting the dynamic of him being there yesterday, and obviously Baker being there, and then they obviously hired Grizzard.
This time will come.
I agree, and I really think I think they wanted to keep the relatively similar verbiage with Cohen's offense and all that stuff. And you guys were having a great chat about Cohen a few minutes ago about that move. I mean, just what are your thoughts?
What are your thoughts?
Yeah, interesting. I mean, it's hard for anybody to turn down $60 million. I know how you. I mean, you can't do it. I mean, if you're an NFL coach and it's generational money, even if it doesn't work out after a couple of years, you still got $60 million in the bank.
That's right.
I mean, not a great press conference with the Duval stuff and all that crap. That was pretty weird to watch him do that, but. I mean,
as you know on your show, and I'm sure you guys have talked about it, the way he went about it, a lot of the fans, James is still in my comments. Can we agree that he did it the wrong way? Yeah. I mean, yeah, he did. But like I don't get hung up on it. It's the NFL. Right. This shit has been going on since the league started. And there's a lot of, when it comes to money like this and power plays like this, and it's every man for himself at some point, you know, and everybody's trying to get their dollar, everybody's trying to get their power. It's just part of the game. And if the Bucs wanted Liam Cohen, they should have made him the head coach from the very beginning. And to think that you were going to be able to hold on to your side chick, you know, that's hot and everybody wants, is kind of silly. Either do it or don't. And you decided not to. Okay, great. Let's see who wins.
You're right. I made that exact point. Is the Bucs had the last chip to play. They could have said, Liam, if we think you're a generational head coach, we're making the move. They did it with Gruden. They made the unprecedented move with Gruden. It would have not been a great look for them for the short term, and Todd Bowles would have had a, you know, but if you really thought he was the Sean McVay of the future, you could have done it.
That's right. They had the opportunity and they chose Todd Bowles over Liam Cohen. And we'll see who's right. You know, we'll see who's right in the end. So when you look at Grizzard, do you have any thoughts on him as the OC? I mean, we don't know a whole lot about him, except looking at his resume. Well, what are your thoughts?
I would think schematically they'll probably be pretty similar. But again, it's calling the plays in the moment. I mean, what does he call on 3rd and 5? What does he call on 4th and 2? Those are the things you never know till you're in that chair calling the plays under the heat of the moment. So we'll see. I mean, obviously, I would assume he got a good recommendation from Cohen. Maybe they reached out to Sean McVay. I'm sure Baker was involved in some of that because, I mean, Baker told me yesterday he's a good dude. He's been in all the meetings. He's there all the time. So that there must be some kind of relationship there on that end. And like you said, the continuity of keeping the offense and the verbiage is super critical because, you know, we know how prolific they were, and they're going to have more guys back. We'll see what they do with Godwin if they bring him back. Draft defense, JP. Defense, more defense. Please.
Yeah, we were just going over, you know, today, now that the OC's in place, I wanted to kind of look at this from a macro level of where the Bucs are right now. And I think they're in a tremendous position. We can bitch and moan about how we got here, but they are in a tremendous position. I'd say in the NFC, if I had to take over one team right now moving forward, and we'll see what the Eagles do. But, hey, listen, even making it to the Super Bowl, winning a Super Bowl, you know what that means? Your entire team's going to get dismantled. Everybody's going to come get your – so anyway. So what do you look at organizations and rosters right now? I'd say the Bucs are in the top 3 in the NFC, top 6 in the NFL moving forward. And that's just dependent. And that's me assuming that this offense is going to either stand pat, take a small step back because of play calling, but I don't see a dramatic, not with this roster and this offensive line. No way.
They're young. They got most of their core guys under long-term deals. They're, you know, I can't think of anybody that's really, I mean, Godwin's probably the one guy. I mean, they have some salary cap moves, so they could probably, if you wanted to pull the trigger on a big trade for maybe a Max Crosby kind of guy, you could afford to do that. They've gotten flushed all the Tom Brady salary cap money out of the system, so they're in a good spot. So Jason Light does a great job managing that salary cap. They're, again, one of the probably bottom 5 youngest teams in the league, so. And that offensive line, we've not seen an offensive line like this in a while where you got 5 really good guys, pretty young, pretty continuous. Are you going to sign Luke Gedeke? Probably at some point. We'll see. But they're in a great spot. And how about that running back? I mean, is he not Warwick done 2.0, man?
It's fantastic. Yeah, he really is. And he blocks like him, too. He steps up and takes on linebackers just like Warwick used to do. Yeah, he's tremendous. Yeah, I think they're in a great position. And, you know, Jason Light has done a great job in the draft. Now, you can make a case that he's got a bit of a blind spot for edge rushers, but I'd also say you look at the ones that they've taken, they've never used a premium pick on or Jason Light hasn't. Not that I'm trying to think. They've never used a premium pick on an edge.
Top 10 guy. It's been a long time.
Yeah. So
I think Joe's the only first-round guy.
And he was 31.
But he was 30th. I mean, he was basically
and he was always a projection.
Right.
Coming out.
Right.
And didn't he not play I don't think he even played his senior year because of COVID.
Didn't play COVID. Yeah.
Right.
Didn't play.
I mean, so
yeah.
And that's why, like, to your point, like you said, I feel like, okay, we've paid the bills. You can make the argument that maybe they've overachieved in these like 2 years where they had to pay the bills and whatnot. That's great. Now that's done with. Now I'm putting my chips all on the table. And you had mentioned, you know, go get a Mac. Try at least, you know, Max Crosby. I don't know if he's available. I don't
Miles
know.
Garrett kind of guy. Miles Garrett kind of guy.
Oh, look, a Trey Hendrickson in Cincinnati. Like, let me ask. Like, I know Jason loves to keep his draft picks and everything, but I mean, I think we all can agree what the Bucs really miss is a constant force on the edge. Like, Yaya Diaby gets the pressures. That's great. But at some point, you got to get the quarterback down, and the Bucs clearly have just struggled to do that.
No doubt. No doubt.
What are your thoughts on we'll go off the Bucs here for a second, and I know you cover obviously FSU and what's going on with the ACC. We've been covering this for a long time. I wasn't shocked, but obviously this is going to go to a settlement of some type. But the fact that FSU is going to apparently stay in the ACC shocks me. I for some reason I don't think this is over. But what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean it's this whole conference realignment stuff, man. It's crazy. I mean, I don't know what did they have an offer on the table to go to the SEC or the Big Ten? I don't know what the true behind the scenes of that is. It's you can be good in that conference, but you got to. I mean, you can't be mediocre in that conference. If you either got to go all in if you're Florida State, whether it's all the things they're doing, but you cannot be. If you're going to stay in that conference,
you better dominate.
You better because you're not getting more than 2 in that conference most years. I mean, 2 at best, but you better be fighting for that ACC title game every year because you're not going to get in as a 3rd seed in that conference. I don't think into a playoff situation.
Definitely not. Everything's cyclical. I mean, you even look at this year, the SEC was kind of down. I think it's exposed the SEC a little bit. But I think parity's come to college football. I think it's going to be very volatile year to year. I don't think the same blue bloods are going to be making it year in and year out because of the transfer portal and the NIL money. Now things are going to change. This new settlement is going to, we don't know what it's going to do, but it should level the playing field a little bit, giving every team a certain amount of money to pay their players. I don't know exactly how it's going to be implemented yet, but as far as I know, FSU's number one goal for a long time is to be able to compete with the big boys in the SEC and the Big Ten in terms of revenue coming in, because when you're paying your players now, that really, really matters. And if ACC is going to give them, brand recognition money and give them more money, then that's what they've always been after. That's what they asked for 3-4 years ago. Right. And now they're finally going to get it. You could have saved yourselves a lot of attorney's fees by just doing the right thing from the beginning. And that's probably the way it's going to come out.
I hope FSU didn't seem to have a issue with paying players last year. It's the evaluation of the players that they paid. Exactly. That was the issue last year. Big important year for Mike Norvell because you better not have another 6-6 kind of year or worse.
Yeah, that's for sure. But the buyout does get smaller each and every year.
I think it's still like $55 million
after this year.
But if Florida State goes 4-8 next year, I have a feeling the folks in Tallahassee will figure it out.
I mean, who's the quarterback?
It's Castellanos.
Tommy Castellanos.
Tommy C, baby.
Boston College's finest.
Yeah.
Well, it's UCF 2022, right? Or what year did he run that Gus offense?
What was it, 2021?
The 2021?
2020, one of them, yeah.
Yeah. So he's bigger, he's better.
You like Gus Malzahn as the OC?
I don't know. Hell, I thought they were going to win 10 games last year. So did Nick Saban, by the way. So I don't feel so stupid. I was there in Dublin when he said it, right? So, and he said we had the best defensive line in all of college football. Nick Saban said that. Not just me, but Nick Saban said it. So I got some cover, and so does everybody else. Lord, I don't know what the hell. I still, to this day, think something we do not know about yet happened to that team. Something inside. I think I know, but I don't know for sure. And I'm until I get more information, something really weird happened. It was a rudderless team. There was no leadership at the top or within the players, and I think that was the biggest problem. There's just no leadership on that team whatsoever, anywhere on the field. Or the head coach was. I think the head coach was a little bit wacky last year, to be quite honest. And I watched some of his interviews, Jason, and I'm just like, this guy doesn't even look like the same dude from 2 years ago. He doesn't talk the same. He doesn't act the same. It's weird. It's just weird to me. And I don't know.
Wonder what the despair was after getting left out of the playoff, what that emotionally did to that group, because, everybody
it was traumatic. It was traumatic. There's no question about it. Don't think the program has recovered. I think it's infected our basketball team.
Ooh, they are bad.
If you saw what happened this past week.
They are bad, man.
Oh my God. It's like, when's it going to stop? When are the L's going to stop? I don't know. They need a karma switch big time.
You can't land a quarterback in the recruiting cycle. You lost another one.
Lost the prize of 2026. We still got the kid from Dallas though, right? That's coming this year, I think. I don't know. I don't know.
Go look at Norvell's quarterback track record since coming to Florida State in recruiting.
Not good.
Not pretty.
Not
good. Pretty.
Oh, you don't like DJU?
Not even just a portal. I mean, like straight up recruiting.
High school kids.
High school kids.
Yeah.
High school kid. Kromenhoek was supposed to be. He was a 5-star last year. And now he's out of the program after 1 year.
And even the guys that have left haven't done squat, right?
Right.
No. Have you heard AJ Duffy's name since he left? No, you haven't.
No, like none of them.
No.
How surprised were you that the whole Florida situation with Golden just kind of fizzled out? I was surprised. I thought they were going to have some problems there.
You know, I haven't paid a whole lot of attention to it because when these things come up these days, Jason, now I don't report them and I don't talk about them until they're done.
Right.
You know, I was on the air when the Duke lacrosse thing went down many years ago. And as soon as that thing was reported, I said, something don't smell right here. Something does not smell right here. And I'm not going to talk about it until we figure it out. And I was proven right on that. Yeah. And all these things, there's just too many opportunities for people to make accusations, especially in this media culture and this social media culture, get attention, get money. It's too easy. And so you got to let it play out and see what turns up. To me, I didn't do the investigation. I don't know where, sometimes it smells that the school does their own investigation. They hire a quote third party, whatever. It just, I don't know. I wasn't there. All those things, those he said, she said things,
right?
The way the whole Title IX thing is set up with anonymity and all this other stuff it's well intended. It's very well intended, but it can also be used as a weapon. So it's a lot of weird stuff going on. And I at this point, it's hard to, and the only other part about that is there's such serious accusations that you better be, if you better be right. You better be right. If you're going to ruin a man's life, you ruin his career and ruin his life. Right. You better have some rock solid evidence, So I don't know. I choose not to really talk about it too much because it's all about he said, she said, and I wasn't there. So
right, no doubt.
Any thoughts on Stu Sternberg and the Rays? We're going to talk about him here in just a little bit.
I leave that one to you, man. I know that is your lane, buddy, and I know you have some very strong opinions on Mr.
We're ready to fire. Yes, absolutely. All right. Hey, tell everybody how they can get your great podcast and everything, and of course, watch you reffing the Pro Bowl. I'm sure it'll be back on soon.
Yeah, Powers on Sports podcast. We put out an episode every week, and we just talk about the news of the day. Who you got in the Super Bowl? Philly?
I'm going to go Chiefs. I'm going to until somebody beats him, other than the Bucs. I know with the script writers, they have a lot of power. So
who's bringing out the ring? Who's bringing out the engagement ring to the end zone post game? Mama Kelsey? Is that Mama Kelsey?
You know what? You really would flip the script, right? What if Tay-Tay gets down on a knee? Wow. What if Tay-Tay promote, women power? How about a time where a woman proposes to a man? How about that? That would really shake up the script writers, wouldn't it? Yeah.
That would be tremendous.
How about that?
That would be tremendous. I'm with you. I think.
By the way, if that comes true, mark this on the podcast. We predicted it.
Hey, by the way, I know we were wrapping up here, but because we mentioned it, the Bucs potentially going after a big name pass rusher. Myles Garrett right now has just requested a trade. He put out a statement.
Boom.
Exclusive statement of his own on social media requesting a trade from the Browns.
Go trade a 1 right now. 1 and a 3 for Myles Garrett now.
Myles Garrett, the premier pass rusher in the NFL, is available now.
I would trade a 1 and a 3. Unfortunately, it's going to take a lot more than that.
Going to be a lot of teams going after him, but
what's the price tag on that, you think?
Yeah, I mean, at least a 1.
Let's just follow the NBA model. Let's trade a 31-year-old. Do we have any 31-year-olds laying around? I know Garrett is actually like 30 years old, actually.
Yeah,
but
he's getting up there a little bit. Yeah,
he's getting up there a little bit. But I mean, we just saw what the NBA did. We only have to part ways with a first-round pick and a player.
Would you give up? Would you give up this year's one and next year's one for Myles Garrett? You're in the window. This is the missing piece.
I probably would.
I think I might.
You think you're going to be good? You're going to be mid first round picks, 16 this year, whatever it is. Probably
we got 19 this year. Next year's mid 20s.
Yes.
Doesn't turn 30 until literally at the end of next season.
Yes.
So he's got a full year of 29.
How many years in the league?
How many years? He's been in the league since 2017. 102 and a half sacks in 8 seasons in the NFL.
8
Pull
seasons.
the trigger.
It's a lot of miles on Miles.
A lot of miles, but led the league in tackles for loss this year. 14,
he's a beast.
14 or more sacks in 4 consecutive seasons.
God, Todd Bowles couldn't even screw that up.
Go get him. Make a move. Because you need 2 pieces on defense. If you get 2 more pieces on defense, this is a cut down the nets kind of team, I think.
I agree. I would give up 2 ones for him right now.
Mid-20 picks. If it was a top 10 pick, different. But you're drafting 16, 18, whatever it is.
Which is 19 this year, and it's probably going to be mid-20s next year.
Pull it.
Yeah. And if Mike Evans has to use the A&M connection to relate to Myles Garrett or anything, like, let's do it.
Come to Tampa Bay. Stops. Do we have any connections with him in any way? Besides, were they teammates at A&M?
No.
Mike's a good dude. Mike's such a good dude, by the way. At first time I met him, I mean, what a personable guy. I kind of told him, I said Saturday, I said, hey, Mike, I don't care what you do. I'm not throwing a flag on you for nothing. You can do whatever you want. Push off as much as you want. He loved that.
All right, man. That was a good play on your part. Yeah. And then when you come on my podcast, if I don't call any penalties on you, I would have played that card all day long. Here's my card. Don't forget me.
That's right.
All right, Jason. Good stuff, man. Good to see you, my friend.
You got it. You guys have a great day.
All right. Thanks. Yeah. Hell yeah. 2 1s. 2 1s. And I'll throw in JTS.
A little sweetener?
Sweet the pie. And some shirtless Instagram photos to go with it. Not of me, of JTS. Yes. Yeah, hell yeah, I would do that. What's the price going to be for Myles Garrett? That's a lot.
I mean, this is literally this is probably the best defensive player in the National Football League.
Yeah.
I think he is. I think he's the most dominant pass rusher from a snap to snap basis, and he plays the most premium position on defense.
And your window is now.
Yeah. And
your window is now.
He made it clear that he did not want to be here for a rebuild. That seems to be where Cleveland's going again. I mean,
what's the money like?
I don't care. What's his contract right now? That's important, I guess.
No, what you need to look at is what is the latest edge rusher contract and what does that look like? And you got to remember, folks, the cap goes up every year significantly with the new TV deal.
He's currently on a 5-year, $125 million deal. His cap hit for 2025 is only 19.7, and his cap hit next year is 23, and then he's a UFA in 2027.
Yeah, well, you're probably going to have to renegotiate that deal.
You'd have to renegotiate that deal, but the cap hits as they stand for right now is
not bad at all.
Pretty reasonable.
Yeah, for that guy?
19 and 20?
That's yeah. Consider we're
severely underpaid.
We're probably paying Antoine Winfield more than that.
Yeah.
But now when in the NFL, does he have to play out that contract, or can they just renegotiate and give? They can just give him a new deal.
Probably can renegotiate.
Yeah, right.
I guess.
Yeah, they just can renegotiate and give him a new deal. Yeah, I mean, I would definitely give up 2 mid-round number 1s. But here's the thing: they're going to get a much better deal than that.
Like I said, if he's truly available, and the Browns, just because he requests a trade too, doesn't mean the Browns are under any obligation to trade him. And their stance apparently has not changed. They don't want to trade him, blah, blah, blah. But Myles Garrett's the type of player, like, you think that if he wants out, he'll find a way. I mean, literally, you probably are going to have at least 25 teams that would have interest in the guy. But how many would Myles go to? Because, again, he's not going for a rebuild. So
does he have a no trade?
Let's find out.
Very interesting. Yeah. All right. We got a lot of good comments coming in. So we're going to take a break and we're going to come in and get all of your comments in our next segment. Thank you guys. Jeremy Lowe, Nathan Elliott, all you good guys in there. We will get to your comments here when we come back. We're brought to you by the great folks at the Gold and Diamond Source. Valentine's Day is coming up. Where else are you going to shop? Besides the Gold and Diamond Source, they have the best selection. They have the best prices. They got great promotions going on. Everything you need. It's like a no-brainer. Like, what am I going to do for Valentine's Day? You're just going to go to the Gold and Diamond Source, walk in, tell them what your budget is, and you're going to walk out with something already wrapped. You don't have to do any of that stuff. It's going to be perfect. Absolutely perfect. You're going to get great value for your money, and you're going to be really happy. And you don't have to go to the mall or do any of that crazy stuff. You just park right there. You walk in. They greet you. They give you water, whatever you want to drink, and then you shop, and then you're out of there. So easy. It's the best place to go. The Gold and Diamond Source, 3800 Ulmerton Road, about 20 minutes from downtown Tampa. Back in 3 with your comments. Stay with us. Hey, JP here for my concierge medical professional, Chris Lugo, PA. You've heard him on the show for a couple of years where he shares invaluable medical, nutritional, and supplement advice. With Chris, it's like having a medical provider as your best friend. What I love about this concierge service is the convenience and support he offers. I can text or call him 24/7 with any questions or concerns, and he'll promptly call in a prescription if needed. No office visits or copays required. It gives me peace of mind knowing I have someone genuinely invested in my health, not just focused on insurance profits. And the best part, the Bay Area Modern Medical Center's personal concierge service is more affordable than you might think. Don't let insurance companies dictate your health care. Take control of your health and wellness today. Visit BAMMC.com for more information and to schedule your initial free consultation. Empower yourself and take charge of your personal health with BAMMC.com.
Hey guys, why not kick off 2025 by popping the question? Yes, and you know where to get that perfect engagement ring. It's the Gold and Diamond Source. The best prices, the best quality, and yes, get her a real diamond. You don't want to go with the fake stuff. And January's birthstone is garnet for all you FSU fans, right? Get 15% off all the unforgettable garnet jewelry at the Gold and Diamond Source. Also, discover Emilique by Emily Johnson Weintraub, a sleek and modern jewelry line that makes everyday gifts extraordinary. And don't forget, you have any unused gold? Turn it into cash or a stunning new piece. With gold prices soaring, there's no better time to trade up. You can do it all at the Gold and Diamond Source, 3800 Ulmerton Road, always online at thegoldendiamondsource.com. JP here for the Jeeves Law Group and my man Scott Jeeves. If you're going to hire an attorney, do you want some guy looking for a quick settlement and a quick buck, or do you want an attorney with some chops? Scott is a board-certified civil trial lawyer and a certified circuit court mediator. Been practicing in the Tampa Bay area for over 30 years. He is a peer-reviewed AV preeminent rated civil trial lawyer. They just don't hand out those classifications. He's been the lead class action counsel on many complex consumer protection cases and has handled hundreds of serious personal injury cases. He's dedicated his career to protecting injured victims and is committed to vigorously representing you. We're local, we're trusted, and we get results. Personal injury and personal attention. Call for a free case evaluation. That's 888-9-JEEVES. That's 888.
Are we back? We are back. Sorry, a little took a power hit there. We are efforting new Wi-Fi here in the fancy, as Nathan Elliott says, are getting schmancy in the FanStream studio. You give him the 2-shot? Can we give him the 2-shot? We got the new 2-shot.
Get the 2-shot up here.
Yeah. By the way, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show, brought to you by the great folks at Third Generation Plumbing and AC. There we are. 2-shot, studio shot. Hello. How y'all doing? There we are. Yeah. Look up and say hello. God dang. Look at that.
I figure where I'm at.
My hairline recedes anymore. It's just like, I'm like global warming in the shoreline.
I can't believe you even brought that up because I haven't even looked at it and I see it now. I see it.
That angle does not do me any great favors here. I have to go to the hat quick. We are brought to you by the great folks at Third Generation Plumbing and AC. If you have any issues at all, need a new system, They've got great incentives going on right now for new systems for the AC. More than anything, you're going to get what you pay for. You're going to get a great group of technicians that come out and do you a great job at a fair price. That's all you want when you hire somebody around the house, right? And they can do all types of things, plumbing, AC, whatever you need. They can do it at Third Generation Plumbing. So go to their website, thirdgenerationplumbing.com, and you can contact them through there, email them, call them, and they will be right out. They did a great job here at the studio last month when we needed some emergency services. So call Third Generation Plumbing. John Rodriguez is the owner, and if it's not right, he will make it right. All right, to the comments we go. Go back to the beginning. And Bucs Basement asks, can you I think you have to put these up since I'm a guest in the show on here. So we'll go right to the original ones. There you go. Can you talk about the hostage BS all the Jags fans and Jag sports media is trying to say the Bucs are doing with Carberry and Pacucci, especially with the hire of Grizzard? It's all about continuity. You know, it's funny. Laugh about it, folks. Laugh about it. I think we could get the last laugh in this deal, but we'll see. We'll see how Liam Cohen. Listen, and by the way, I think Liam Cohen would have been a much better head coach here than he's going to be in Jacksonville. Because he would have a better roster, and this is ready-made to win, and he knows the play calling, he knows all that. So sometimes it's not like apples and oranges, but if he is indeed a great coach, he'll be successful in Jacksonville. If he's not, he won't.
Right. It's just you have to go off. I can only go off history, and history tells me how many coaches have been successful in Jacksonville.
Not many.
How many?
Tom Coughlin. That's about it.
Right. Whoever the coach was in that year in 2017, was that Marone?
I forget who that was. It was in 20. They went to the playoffs with Trevor in 22. I think that was Peterson's first year.
Peterson, but I'm talking about in 17 when they got to the
the championship game.
AFC championship game. I think that was Doug Marone.
Yeah.
But then that
he was only there for 1 year, right?
No, he was there for 5 years, but he went from that 10 wins.
That was Malarkey that was there for 1 year.
Yeah,
that was a bunch of malarkey.
Marone got them to the AFC Championship game, and then he went 5 wins, 6 wins, 1 win. That's typically what happens in Jacksonville.
Yeah, because it's a bad organization.
It's a badly run organization.
Yeah. Let's go to James there. The next one down. Can we agree Liam handled this wrong? Yes. Yes, we can. I guess. Take the interview after Balky fired, but call your boss and let them know. That's all Liam needed to do. Sure, players back him, but no way they like what he did. I know, James, you're going to die on this hill. So let me tell you a quick story. It's a quick story. It's a great story. And I would love to do a documentary on this. Back in 1974, the Miami Dolphins were 2-time Super Bowl champions. And there was a fledgling league, the World Football League, the WFL, was trying to challenge the NFL. And a businessman in Canada, Bassett, who owned the Carling breweries, he was buying a team, and he said to Leo, his general manager, his last name escapes me right now. Actually, he was I met him, and he told me this whole story. He was he was kind of the what would be his comp here in the United States, a very flamboyant, flashy coach in the CFL. And he was very charismatic, and he was hired by Bassett to bring in 3 superstars from the NFL to be the core of his team. So he targeted the Miami Dolphins because they had a cheap owner in Joe Robbie who didn't pay his players very much. This was pre-CBA. And so he went after Zonka, Kick, and Warfield, the 3 core players for the Miami Dolphins. And so he flew them up to Toronto, wined and dined them, and said, okay, here's it, and brought him into a suite at this hotel that Bassett owned in Toronto, and said, all right, here's the contracts. We're going to pay each and all 3 of you guys $1 million a year, or the $1 million contract. And they're probably making about 150 with the Dolphins back in the day. He goes, so we want, and you either sign these contracts here today by 5:00, or we're moving on to the next 3 guys in the NFL. And so Zonka was very loyal to Shula, and said, well, before we do this, we got to call Don Shula. And he goes, and Mr. Robbie, he goes, all right, but I can tell you this, Mr. Robbie ain't going to be able to match this. No way. He doesn't have the money. And so but Zonka was absolutely emphatic that he wanted to talk to Shula before they signed these deals. So he called Shula from the suite and talked to Shula, and Shula said, "God damn it, this son of a bitch. All right, give me some time. I got to call Joe Robbie, and we'll find out. Don't sign anything until I call you back. I understand it's a great offer, blah, 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 but do not sign anything until I call you back, and I'll call you back." And he said, "Okay." And so they hung up the phone, and they stayed in the suite, and they partied, and then they wait for kind of a call back. Well, Leo calls the front desk and says, "Do not put any calls through to this suite." Under no circumstances. He goes, "Actually, you can call me. You can call, but then hang up the phone." So he had this whole thing orchestrated. So they sat there, and the time was ticking, and Zonka was waiting for the call, and it's just the call never came because the call was never going to come.
Right.
And Shula was talking to Robbie, trying to get him to, and they had a counteroffer prepared, and they were going to try to, but they never got to talk to him. And the guys signed the deals, and they were on the cover of Sports Illustrated. Zonka kicking Warfield going to the World Football League, which lasted for about a year and a half. Elvis Presley moved the team to Memphis. Elvis Presley, Charlie Pride were involved. It's an incredible story. The point is, this back dealing has been going on in the NFL since the early 70s. It's a cutthroat business. And when it comes to $60 million contracts and NFL teams, agents are going to do what they got to do to get the deal done. And I can tell you right now that Liam Cohen may have wanted to call the Bucs back, but his agent said, "No, we're not doing that. And Shad Khan said to him, "Look, you go back to the Bucs. This deal is off the table. It's completely off the table. If you call the Bucs back, it is off the table. And we're moving on to the next guy. I got, 4 more guys in line. What are you doing? You calling the Bucs back, or are you going off the grid?"
I'm going off the grid.
For $60 million?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Probably.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just, and we can get caught up in it, but we have some sound from Baker, right? And the guys talking about it.
Yeah, let me cue it up here.
Yeah. So, I mean, yeah, did he handle it wrong? Sure. Yeah. But that's the way the game is played. If you want your guy, go get your guy. And the Bucs may have had some reservations about him, that he, did some weird things during the season and that they didn't like. So they weren't all, enamored with him becoming a head coach, and they may turn out to be right about this. So we'll see. But the bottom line is they got their guy. We got our guy. Let's go play football.
Yep.
And if you want to keep bitching and moaning about the way he handled it, and if they want to bitch and moan about, you're not letting your coaches go and you're holding them hostage, shut the F up. Nobody cares. It's his business. It's business. You want to hurt feelings? Go watch the Hallmark Channel and cry your eyes out. This is the NFL. We're not waiting. It's the way it works. You either get his name on the freaking contract or you don't. Simple as that. And if however way it was handled, you can bitch and moan, and with all due respect to the Bucs, they can bitch and moan, but they can also block him from coming to get their coaches, which is exactly what they should have done. So maybe Josh Grizzard's going to be a better play caller. Maybe this leads the Bucs to a better spot, and Liam Cohen's going to be a disaster as a head coach, and we'll look back on this and say, "Whew, we dodged the bullet on that." So
time will tell.
Time will tell.
All right, let's go to this little clip here. This was from Pewter Report speaking to Baker at the Pro Bowl, asked about Josh Grizzard.
That's getting everybody on the same page. And Grizz was our third down guy, and he was a huge part of those installations and what we were trying to do on third downs and how to draw things up for Mike and Chris, how to move them around, how to get Bucky involved as the season went on, and just different things like that. And paid the weeks he stepped up when those guys are down. Like there's so much that goes into that game planning and formationally, and Grizz was a huge part of that. So that's why I'm excited. He's a guy that didn't get a lot of credit behind the scenes last year, but now he'll be at the forefront of it.
That sounds good. Sounds authentic.
Listen, if QB1 is happy, then I'm happy.
And it's not like he's going to come out and say, "Oh, guy's a douche." Right. I don't even know who he is. Some dude was sitting in the back. No, he's not going to say that. But he's not. That's not the situation. You could tell right there he's authentic about what he dealt with the guy and thinks he's talented. Right. Do you have the one where they're talking about how they found out and whatnot?
I didn't see audio for that one, though. for the one that you're mentioning, but what did he say that he left him on red, I guess, for a little bit. And
because evidently, Baker was trying to reach out to Liam when they went down to the Bahamas. They had thought that that he was leaving or he's going to interview, and now he's coming back, so everything was good. So yeah, and then Liam reached out to him once the deal was done, and he put him on. Didn't read him right away, but once they all FaceTimed, it was basically get the bag, good for you and your wife and all that, and of course, and that's the way the players are. Players are always that way. Now, if we ever play the Jags in preseason or anything else, they're going to want to beat each other. It's going to be competitive. So yeah, again, nobody cares about your feelings. Nobody cares about who called who back or did any of that stuff. You and me and our dealings and our companies, I get guys texting me and go, "Oh, what if your boss was then you become their boss and you didn't call him back and there was a competitor?" You're like comparing it to your plumbing company. It's not the same, folks. It's when $60 million guaranteed is at stake. And again, the Bucs could have fired Todd Bowles the day after the season, hired Liam Cohen as their head coach, and probably paid him $5 million a year, and he'd have been super happy with that. And we'd be moving forward saying, I'm looking forward to this season. Hopefully Liam will be a better game manager. Hopefully the team will be better. Hopefully he'll be more aggressive. Hopefully, we get a new defensive staff. There'd be new younger blood on the defensive staff. It'd be a different scheme. I would have been happy with that, to be quite honest.
Well, let's go to Mike Evans here, who also spoke to Pewter Report about this. And we mentioned Baker Mayfield has been on how many OCs now?
8.
How many has Mike been on?
Oh, Jesus.
Who was his first OC? Who was Lovey's first OC? Was that the
Dirk Cutter?
No, it was supposed to be Jed Tedford, right?
Oh, Tedford. And then he had the heart issue.
And then it turned into Marcus Arroyo.
Yeah, what a disaster that was.
And then it went to Dirk Cutter, which then led to
I don't know.
Well, Dirk was the play caller when he was the head coach.
Yeah.
And then we went to Bruce, so Leftwich, and then now everything's sent. So Mike's on number 6 or 7, I guess, now in his career.
But it's not a new one this year. Nobody has to learn a new playbook.
No,
Woo-hoo!
and if there's one thing I know, death taxes, Mike Evans is going to get 1,000 yards, no matter who's throwing the football, no matter who's calling the plays. But here was his thoughts.
I've never really cared about it. Whoever they choose to hire, it's my job to get open and make plays for our team.
And what about John? What can you tell us? Well, the fans don't know. He's behind the scenes. What's he like?
Me and Josh, we're cool. We're cool, so I hope I get the ball a lot this year. And, I like Josh. I think it's a good hire, and we're going to try to make it work as best we can.
It doesn't seem like he knows him very well.
No, he had a little smile on his face, but I mean, he kind of just said what I just basically said. His first answer, he's like, I don't really care who they hire.
Just throw me the damn ball.
Just throw me the damn ball.
I'm 6'6". Just throw me a fade, for God's sakes. Oh, and we mentioned this earlier. Mike has expressed an interest in being on the 2028 USA Olympic flag football team. Yeah. I didn't even know there was going to be men's flag football till a few months ago.
Yeah,
I thought it was just a girls thing.
No. This is a thing, and I believe that I don't know if the NFL has officially negotiated yet to have their players in it, but that's the expectation that the NFL players will be allowed to. I think Tyreek Hill's been the most vocal that he wants to play in this game, or in those Olympics. But Mike's going to be. That's
going to be like a dream team thing.
I mean, can you imagine the guys who are going to be like the competition to get in there?
Oh my God.
Because you keep in mind, Mike could say he wants to play all he wants, but Mike's going to be like 35 years old.
Yeah, but what a red zone target.
But then again, who are we playing?
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
Our college guys.
We could throw our high school guys in there.
We could have team A, B, C, D, all the way to Z, and
we can keep going. We can make up new letters. I mean, we'll be fine. So, that's 2028.
Who's the competition? Canada? Who's going to play for Mexico?
I mean, what other countries? I genuinely don't know. Well, I mean, I guess they have the the European Football League now that is over there, where
It's flag football?
Jack Del Rio. No, it's regular football. Jack Del Rio actually just got named a couple weeks ago the head coach of the French team.
Oh, they're having tackle football over there again,
Yeah. It's been going on now for like the last 4 or 5 years, I believe.
I didn't know that.
I didn't know it either until Jack Del Rio got the job, and I was like, oh. So I guess you'll have players from those countries and everything, and then obviously the NFL has that partnership with Africa, where they have players from Africa that are now playing in the league. That little development thing they have. So maybe there'll be more countries than I'm thinking, but obviously the USA is gonna route everybody.
All right, interesting. Let's go back to the comments here, partner. Tampa Bay at 10-11. Yeah, prices are out for full season. So $6,000 for a full season race ticket. Worth it comes out to $75 a game. Well, the good thing is every ticket's a good ticket. It's great sight lines, way better than Tropicana Field. I mean, obviously, summertime's going to be a bit of an issue, but night games. If I'm not sitting in direct sunlight, I'm okay.
Listen, I'm not bitching and I'm not complaining. We have baseball for the first
So
time
excited.
ever in
excited.
the Tampa side, which is what many have been calling for.
Yep.
If you've got I don't got $6,000 to just throw out for season tickets for the Rays. But if you got it, and that's the price.
Well, how about the $30,000 ticket?
What was that? I saw
That's
that.
the home plate club.
That's the home plate club.
Yeah,
30K.
beer and liquor's not even included.
Excuse me? Is this $30,000 for the season?
Yeah, for the season.
Okay.
It's $250 per ticket, I believe. $250 per ticket. And then there's a loge. I think all these premium seats are sold out. They sold every premium seat out in a week.
I mean, yeah.
And I saw in John Romano's column, it's like, oh, it's surprising that the premium tickets went so well. Maybe there is more money to be made in Tampa. Do you think?
Yeah, and I even saw, like, as I pass by Steinbrenner and Raymond James every Tuesday when I go to hockey, and this past Tuesday I looked over and they're already adding on to that little like bridge that goes across the parking lot to Steinbrenner. So they're getting things ready. It looks like a lot of things are taking shape already. And I'm excited.
Oh, I'm so excited.
I'm excited.
Cannot wait.
And the fact that the Rays are making some moves too now, getting me excited too for the team we might see.
Yeah. Kim's coming over. What do you think of the new shortstop?
I mean, I love this move.
Yeah. Gold Glove shortstop, who's basically an average hitter, which makes him third best hitter in our lineup, I think, at this point. He's got an average, a little below average OPS, 243 hitter, had 17 home runs a couple of years ago for the Padres. He's a marked improvement. I wouldn't say defensively, he's on Taylor Wall's level, but offensively, he's light years ahead.
Yeah, light years. He's way ahead. He's got 78 stolen bases, or 72 stolen bases over the last 3 seasons, and obviously he only played in 121 games. That's the only thing, is he had this shoulder surgery, so he's probably going to be out till late May. So we're probably going to have to make it with Taylor Walls for a month and a half or whatever. But assuming he gets back and he's healthy, like this, this is a big impact player because he does everything well. He doesn't really strike out a lot, which I love. He plays great defense, like you said, won a Gold Glove in 2023, and he finished 14th in MVP voting.
Yeah,
his 2023 year
was big,
was really, really strong. He's 29 years old. You got him on a 2-year deal, second largest free agent contract the Rays have ever handed out, behind only Greg Vaughn. Which was in like
hit
2002, 2001.
Hit show. For those of you who remember that.
Yeah. So I like the move. I look at the line. Now I look at the lineup.
It's getting a little thicker.
And it's getting a little thicker, and we're cleaning out the deadwood.
Yep.
We're cleaning out the deadwood a little bit. So
I wish beginning of May and end of May is a big deal. That's 26 games.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
But we have to throw, when you talk about the Rays though, because me and you, we could shout to the heavens how we would love the Rays to go get a big bat in the middle of the order. But here's the thing. The Rays are expecting. It's not hoping necessarily. They're expecting, and I'm expecting. We're all expecting. Junior Caminero should hit 30 home runs plus this year for this baseball team.
And he's still running around the bases in Dominican Republic, by the way.
Did you see that last week?
It was awesome.
That was freaking awesome. And
For those of you who don't like celebrations, and down there in the Dominican, it's not only encouraged, it's required.
Right.
But that was the greatest home run trot of all time. It was fantastic. And it was completely appropriate. Right. Game leading home run, top of the 9th. not a walk-off, but damn close. That was extraordinary.
Yeah,
extraordinary.
And I love the passion too. He was like
Yes.
he was like in tears after the game. Like, I mean, yeah, Junior Caminero, if all things go the way they're supposed to be, like, I won't say his name, the shortstop who's no longer around, but Junior Caminero's upside as a hitter, I think, is even greater than that guy's. And I'm hoping that maybe we get that here in his first full-time season.
Yeah, I agree. Do you have your quote from the Romano column that you enjoyed so much? Because I have one of my own.
Oh yeah, the Romano wrote the column this morning. The Rays, titled "Rays signing of Ha-Seong Kim is one more example of MLB's broken system." It was a good column and everything, and writes out a lot of the
which I agree with. The system is broken.
The disparity
Absolutely. He's
between
spot on
payrolls
right
and
there.
everything. And I was reading it this morning, and I saw a little bit of an excerpt, and I thought to myself, well, JP's going to love this one, so I'll read it to you here. He said, "Of course, you could place the blame at the ledger of owners who do not overspend on salaries. That certainly plays a role. But there is a chicken and egg component to that argument. Are the teams not spending money because they don't draw enough fans, or do fans not show up because the team isn't investing in the payroll? In Tampa Bay's case, the numbers strongly suggest it's a market issue and not an ownership problem. The Rays have the third best record in baseball since 2008 and are wallowing near the bottom in total attendance."
The numbers would suggest that's correct. But if you know baseball and you know where the revenue sources are, then you would understand that's not correct. And to say Stu Sternberg is not at fault for this payroll is a joke, is an absolute joke. And ticket sales do not equal revenue. Ticket sales do not equal revenue. And it's not just the last few years where you could say COVID, the regional sports network, which, by the way, he took a huge chunk of money up front, smart, and avoided the problems that other teams have had with bankruptcy. Not avoided, but certainly did better than those other teams in bankruptcy. And we don't know the exact numbers because the only thing we do know is what was revealed in the lawsuit. But, yeah, a lot of that, when you have over $300 million worth of revenue, and your payroll's in the $60 million range, most of the time $70 million, $80 million. It's been 90 the last couple of years. You're making tons of money. They certainly have more than enough money to get to league average. How do all these other markets get to league average? And you could say attendance, you're getting revenue sharing money, 30, 40, 50, $60 million a year.
Right.
That makes up for the lack of ticket sales.
Yeah.
And you're not spending it. That's why. And John, did you mention that the Players Association has filed grievances against the Rays many times for not spending the revenue sharing money? Probably not. Those are issues. Those are issues. And this team doesn't spend money because they choose not to spend money, not because they don't have it.
But what I don't like,
he had $500 million that he put into a separate company that he made from the Rays and that upfront money, according to the lawsuit.
What I don't like,
could have used that on payroll.
Yeah.
Was that mentioned in the article?
I don't
think so.
But I think Romano made a lot of great points, and one of them that I believe he articulated pretty well was that the Rays are sort of part of the problem for why the teams, the disparity, because everybody saw what the Rays have done with less.
No, that is a good point.
And they're trying to say, oh, we can do the same thing. And I sit here, I went and looked at the payrolls today. I mean, you have 8 teams that are currently have payrolls under $100 million. Milwaukee, Washington, Cleveland, Tampa Bay, Pittsburgh, Chicago White Sox, Oakland or Sacramento, sorry. Who all of a sudden they decided to spend money too. Now they leave Oakland. It's funny. And Miami. So those 8 teams are spending under 100. And even if you expand it out, like the Cardinals of all teams are only spending 125. That seems low for St. Louis.
Very low.
I mean, and then Colorado, Kansas City.
You got to remember though, this is there's still a lot of spending to happen before
there is, but
training.
It feels like all the top dogs are all getting richer with their contracts that they're handing out. It's because it feels like a third of the league is not even interested in signing anybody.
No, and that's right. Romano makes a great point with that, and I think that is the Rays are the problem there because they've shown they can win in the regular season with their strategy, and I don't think it's a good long-term strategy, and I don't think it wins a World Series, which I'm told is the ultimate goal. So if you want to play with the big boys, play with the big boys. But there is a problem in baseball in terms of not having a level playing field. But that doesn't give Stu Sternberg cover, in my opinion.
No, and the Rays sit here right now with a.
And by the way, I mean I think this stadium thing has proven out that Stu Sternberg is the problem and always has been the problem in stadiums, in payroll, in everything. Yeah. He's been a horrible owner on every level. And you could say, yeah, they've won a lot of games. They have. Regular season games.
They've won a lot of games, I feel like, in spite of him.
Yeah. Yeah. I believe that. Yeah. It's not because, is he making the trades? Is he doing all the hard work with two hands tied behind his back, getting these players? No, that's Eric Neander. That's been the leadership that he's put in place, and he gets some credit for that. But no, he's handcuffed this team in terms of payroll. Imagine what Eric Neander could do with a payroll. Holy shit. Are you kidding me? I tell you this, we'd have a lot thicker lineup than we have right now.
Do you want to go test that? What's happening in Los Angeles with Mr. Friedman? Now, maybe that's a different example because clearly anybody.
I don't like bringing that up because
anybody could do that in Los Angeles.
I mean, I could. Well, look what Andrew Friedman did when he finally got a payroll. Yeah, but that's ridiculous.
Yeah, I think we could have
trying to be a little fair.
5 years ago we could say that, but now it's different. The Dodgers are just in their own tier,
right? But yeah, he is not. He has been the problem. Let's just be. And that is shown out to. I mean, Ken Rosenthal is writing it. I try not to get too personal on this. What a horrible situation this has been to deal with and negotiate with the Rays, as has every mayor said it, every person that dealt with them, every business person that's dealt with them. Hell, he's been out trying to sell minority shares to businessmen all over town. And I've talked to businessmen that have been approached by it. And they all have said, do I want to do business with this guy? Look what he did with his other partners. Look what he's doing to city and county. Hell no. He's telling me they're going to give me 20%. Somehow I don't believe that. And so it's hard. He can't raise money. That's the Rosenthal article said it all. It said everything that we've been saying for so long. And you can yell at me and say, I don't know what the hell I'm talking about. But Ken Rosenthal, who's pretty freaking connected and is the most respected reporter in all of baseball, has said the same things that I've been saying for a long, long time. And that's just because I'm talking to the people who have dealt with Stu Sternberg. And now it's never been more public than it's ever been. And as Romano said in this column, yeah, it looks like he's going to sell the team. It's exactly what we've been saying for a long time. He's going to sell the team. And Major League Baseball is going to make him sell the team soon, in my opinion.
Yeah, and of course, until then, we have to deal with all the was it on Thursday last week or Friday? I think it was Thursday where all the Orlando stuff came out. And I have to deal with so many people that are in Orlando.
Laughable.
And I get it. If you're in Orlando and you want your baseball team, I got it. You're passionate, whatever. But can we just stop this charade? The Tampa Bay Rays, I will go on record and say 99.5%, because I'll leave out the little 0.5%. 99.5% certain that the Tampa Bay Rays will never be the Orlando Rays. Can we just say that?
It's never going to happen.
It's never going to happen. And I was just laughing.
Major League Baseball loves this market, and Orlando is not a good market.
I was just laughing at all the Orlando fans that were like on their high horse the other day.
Yeah. All right. Other comments here we want to get to before we hit our next break?
Yeah, let me scroll up here real quick. We had some comments here because a lot of them are about the Liam stuff, and we've pretty much moved on from that.
Yeah.
There were some comments in here about Myles Garrett, which we had brought up in the last segment.
Well, Corey Hall, who I have not seen him here before.
Where was it at?
1021 says, and the quarterback, can you honestly say in your mind that you can win a Super Bowl with Baker Mayfield? My question to you, Corey, is what tells you that you can't? Oh, he wasn't good with Cleveland. Okay. Let's look at that organization. Well, he was terrible with the Panthers. Okay. Let's look at that situation.
Here's the only rebuttal I need. Tell me who in the NFL right now has won a Super Bowl at the quarterback position. Oh, wait, I'll give you the names. Patrick Mahomes, Matthew Stafford, Aaron Rodgers, 15 years ago?
Mm-hmm.
Russell Wilson, 12 years ago. Joe Flacco, 14 years ago. End list. End list. I don't know if Josh Allen can win a Super Bowl. I don't know if Lamar Jackson can. I don't know if Joe Burrow can. I don't even know if the first two names I mentioned can get to a Super Bowl.
That's right.
But you know who I have seen get to a Super Bowl? I saw Jared Goff get to a Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
I saw Nick Foles win a Super Bowl.
Yeah. Trent Dilfer win a Super Bowl.
That was a while ago. I've seen Jalen Hurts get to 2 Super Bowls now. Mm-hmm. I saw Brock Purdy get to a Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
You tell me that all these quarterbacks are way better than Baker Mayfield?
Close to winning, too.
close to winning. Are these quarterbacks better than or way better than Baker Mayfield if they are?
And if you put, let me just say this, Corey, and I'm not getting off on you here. It's look at his numbers, like blind resume it. I think the reason you would say Baker Mayfield, because he's gotten such a bad rap for so long. Look at his numbers the last 2. He's more touchdown passes than anybody in the NFL. Let me ask you a question. Can a guy that's had the most touchdown passes than anybody in the NFL over the last 2 years get to a Super Bowl? Should that be a qualification? Yeah. So you put his numbers up against anybody's numbers in the league and say that guy on a blind resume, can he get to a Super Bowl? Yeah, looks like it. Throws for a lot of yards, throws for a lot of touchdowns, maybe a little bit too many picks, but for the most part, yeah. Yeah, those numbers are Super Bowl worthy. If you go look at his numbers and then over the history of the Super Bowl and say, do those numbers line up with Super Bowl winning quarterbacks? Yeah, overwhelmingly they do. So don't get like caught up in Baker Mayfield and his public persona or what he's been. Look at who he is now in this situation with this team. That's what matters.
Forget what he's done in the regular season. Let's go to his playoffs. Baker Mayfield in 5 playoff games. 12 touchdowns, 3 interceptions, 105.9 quarterback rating.
That'll do.
1,300 plus yards. And I believe there was like some crazy efficiency stat for what he did in the wild card game was like the best ever in like a loss.
Yeah.
In the playoffs in the last 25 years.
Yeah.
Baker Mayfield has quietly been a damn good playoff quarterback as well, where he almost elevates his game.
Better numbers than Lamar Jackson. Can he win a Super Bowl? I don't think anybody's saying no.
We just don't know.
You can't get there.
You can't get there. But that's what I'm saying. We have examples of other quarterbacks who are similar to Baker from a talent perspective that have gotten there. So why can't Baker?
Christopher Cole says the Saints are in hot water this morning. Did I miss something?
I have not.
Or did you just look at their salary cap situation?
I have not dived into this story yet.
So
I don't want to comment on it necessarily, but I'll just give
Nobody wants that job.
No,
Nobody wants it. It's a dead end.
This has nothing to do with the Saints on the field. This had to do with an email revealed the extent of they played damage control for clergy sex abuse crisis, apparently.
Clergy sex
Clergy, yeah, Catholic Church. They were helping a Catholic church address a sex abuse scandal. Apparently, that came out from ESPN this morning. So I have not read that one.
Yeah, we're not going there.
Not going there. But
as I said before,
yeah, that was the report.
And those things, I'm like, until that all gets flushed out, we're not going there.
Yeah.
Anything else in here?
I did want to hit. Some of the people were commenting about the Myles Garrett stuff, and we talked about that. And I guess just to reiterate, and guess you missed it, I think me and you are both lockstep that if it's 2 firsts plus,
hell yeah,
I'm in. Because apparently Andrew Berry said that he would not trade him even if it was 2 firsts. So I would assume 2 firsts is the starting point.
Yes.
It's the starting point.
Mm-hmm. But our 2 firsts aren't going to be as good as other 2 firsts.
No, I just saw even Chicago, because I have to think a team like Chicago would be all in on that. Chicago's got picks 10, 39, and 41 in this year's draft alone.
Mm-hmm.
And if they wanted to part ways with all of them, what's stopping them? Plus next year's first.
Yeah.
So it's going to be a lot of competition is the thing. But
for Myles Garrett. But you like the Trey Hendrickson. It's cheaper.
I like Trey Hendrickson because it's not going to cost you nearly as much to get him. He is 31, so he's a little older, but he's got the most sacks in the NFL the last 2 seasons. He's kind of that's like the only thing he really does tremendously well, but hey, that's what the Bucs need. And he's under a 1-year deal, so you're going to have to give him a contract because that's the reason why he potentially might want out of Cincinnati. That's the only thing.
And you know what's interesting too is, and I've said this without giving names, it would be so good to get Trey Hendrickson for a 3rd-round pick and then add another younger edge in the draft who can mentor under him. Like who's the kid from Alabama? Campbell?
That's the linebacker, Jihad Campbell.
Yeah. Who's going to be there? Jack Sawyer?
Jack Sawyer might be there. This Mike Green.
Mikel Williams.
Mike Green from Marshall is probably going to go in the top 10 now after the Senior Bowl.
Yeah. Yeah. There's I'm looking at the list right now. There's a lot of good ones.
It's a loaded. The Princely Uman, I forgot his last name. The one that was at Florida, went to Ole Miss. He's a 1st-round pick.
Unamalen?
Yeah.
Yomana
I always butcher the last name. But he's really long and late. Like he, to me, feels like a Todd Bowles type player.
Yeah.
So he'll probably be in contention. I'll tell you, and also I guess I should mention his name because he is a free agent. I've seen Bucs fans mention him. How do you feel about Khalil Mack?
Yeah, I love because the window
option,
because the window's 1 or 2 years here. I mean, it could be longer, but definitely I think the Super Bowl window for the Bucs is 2 years for sure. Like right. I think for sure. I think Mike can play that long. I think Godwin can play that long.
Vita.
I think Baker will stay here that long. Vita's that long. Yeah. So the older players, Tristan, all those guys are still good for 2 years. Like lock it in.
Yeah.
Lock it in. So that's a 2 year for sure. Could be more. So can Khalil Mack play 2 more years? Yeah, I think he can.
I think Khalil Mack's probably at this point in his career where
he'll be cheap.
Similar to Levante.
Cheaper.
He'll keep coming back under 1 year deals until he decides he's had enough.
And then you pair him with a Jack Sawyer or a Mike Green.
He is going to be 34 here later this month.
Can you imagine let's say a Trey Hendrickson, a Mike Green, Vita Vea, Kalijah Cansey. I mean,
we're solving the defense's issues right there.
Jiminy Christmas. Right. And then Yaya Diaby. I mean, think about that.
Braswell too. Give him a package.
He's in the rotation.
He's in the mix.
Think of that. Think of that right there. You add 2 premium pass rushers to that group right there. Holy shiz. And this offense?
Yeah.
Come on.
And then you're obviously investing draft capital and better cornerback depth. And
you got to go get a corner.
Probably need a safety.
2 corners and safety. Yeah.
There's still a lot to be done. Linebacker. Like there's a lot to be done on that.
There's a lot, but you got resources.
But you have resources.
You can sign a linebacker, a veteran linebacker, an edge rusher, and maybe even probably not a safety, but maybe find it. Hopefully Jordan Whitehead comes back and is better. We'll see. And Tyke Smith, maybe he can play a different role.
And by the way, when it comes to Jamel Dean, like, because people say, we need to upgrade at corner. I personally am in the camp of I'm keeping Jamel Dean, but I'm adding more competition back there.
Yeah.
Because if you get rid of Dean, well, now I got to replace him, and that's just going to add another thing to do. And Jamel's, I think, a pretty good tackler, something that a lot of guys on that Bucs defense are not. So I know he's not available and all these stuff, but I would personally keep Dean and add more to around him.
You know what he does well? He covers man-to-man well. He can't catch the ball worth a crap, but he can cover. He can take a guy out. I'm going to say take him out, but he can cover a number 1 guy. He can run with him. He can.
If he just stays on the field in that game against Washington,
it's a difference. Yeah,
it was a difference immediately when Josh Hayes got in there.
No, I agree. All right, let's take one more break. When we come back, we'll hit the rest of the comments, but I also want to get into some Grammys. Because Nick is really pissed off about the country album of the year, but I'll calm your fear. We'll talk about that. I saw some good stuff on the Grammys last night. I want to talk about the Luka trade, the Luka Davis trade. We got to talk about that. The Fox trade, and a little bit more, and the Bolts too. I want to get to some Bolts stuff as well after Saturday night's loss and 2 huge games coming up against Ottawa. Much more coming your way here on the JP Peterson Show, brought to you by the great folks at Cafe Paradiso. Paulo wants you to come in and have some branzino and some salsiccia, all that good stuff. It is the best traditional Italian you will ever have. And Valentine's Day is coming up, folks. Get your reservation on Open Table right now at Cafe Paradiso. You do not want to miss out. Very romantic place, white tablecloths, nice little candle on there, and the food is amazing. Now those Italian guys in there serving the food, you got to watch out for them a little bit with your date, but it kind of adds to the whole thing. It's Cafe Paradiso, best Italian food in Tampa. Back in 3.
Old Hurricane Helene put a hurting on Tampa Bay, and for many of you, the rebuild will be a long process. You must beware of unscrupulous contractors offering up quick fixes for incredible prices. It's a scam. So go with long-standing reputable companies like Third Generation Plumbing and AC. My friend John Rodriguez has been serving Tampa Bay since 1995 with hundreds of 5-star reviews. If you need a new AC system or any home repairs from Helene, they will work with insurance companies to get you taken care of quickly, expertly installed, of course, and a 1-year maintenance plan and 10-year warranty included on all AC units. 0% financing for 60 months. Contact them at thirdgenerationplumbing.com or 813-961-8024. That's 813-961-8024, thirdgenerationplumbing.com. So many of our Tampa Bay neighbors are finding out the hard way from Hurricane Helene that homeowners insurance does not cover flood damage. You must have flood insurance. It's a separate policy. Immediately call Italiano Insurance at 813-877-7799, and they will shop around to find the best policy before rates go up. Lock it in. Over 60% are underinsured in Florida, or you're not getting your discounts that you're entitled to. So do an insurance checkup at Italiano, and they could save you thousands of dollars. Italiano will make sure you're with a highly rated insurer, so there are no surprises in your time of need. Our hearts go out to all our neighbors devastated by Helene. These are the times we're proud to protect all the pieces of your life. Italiano Insurance, 813-877-7799.
Ciao, Paolo Tini here, owner of Caffè Paradiso, voted number 3 People's Choice Award on Open Table. I want to thank all our loyal family of customers that have been enjoying our great traditional Italian dishes we make from scratch every day. It's a great family story we're proud of. Our family moved from Rimini, Italy in 1984. My dad, Caesar, started Donatello, and that's where I got the start in the restaurant business. I started Caffè Paradiso on South McDill in 1995, and we've been there ever since. From our traditional ossobuco, a veal slow roast for 4 hours, to our daily fresh catch, the Gruppo Paradiso, with a piccata sauce and lobster claw meat, homemade pasta like lasagna, farfalle salchicha, which is a bow tie pasta homemade with fresh sausage. Hold on a minute, JP's favorite.
I love it.
So come and have a glass of wine with me on South McDill. Get a reservation on Open Table and see all our 5-star reviews. Ciao, see you soon at Paradiso.
Let's go.
Right now, back to the show on FanStream Sports.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show here on this Monday, Super Bowl Monday. God, we haven't even talked about the Super Bowl. We'll get into that as the week goes on. The teams arrive. Eagles, Chiefs. What? You're not fired up about the Super Bowl?
I'm just kidding. The more it's getting closer, I'm gonna get excited. But yesterday I got a glimpse of what it's gonna be like of the offseason anyway. We had Pebble Beach, great action there. Beautiful.
Rory looked good.
You
know what Rory looked like? He could care less. He won at Pebble Beach. There was a lack of emotion.
Because you know what Rory's after.
Yeah.
It's not about these tournaments.
No. This was just like going to work, punching the ticket.
Yeah. And he's waiting for the big 4 events and trying to win one. I think he's going to get it done this year too. I think he's locked in.
It's getting to the point where it's, like the Bolts scoring goals. Like you're there. You're right at the freaking doorstep. You can't put it in.
Right.
You can't put it in. That's a professional segue, by the way. It's a professional segue.
That's why you get paid the big bucks.
Yeah, that's why I'm getting. So the Bolts Saturday night, once again, buzzing around in the first period. Just absolutely golden opportunity after golden opportunity after golden opportunity. And they just could not. Both goalies were playing great. 2 hot Russian goalies, just absolutely both coming off 3-0 shutouts, kind of going mano-a-mano. Even the first 2 goals you couldn't do anything about. So it's a 1-1 game going to the third. And the Lightning, once again, it's another misplay. Chernak, he felt like he got interfered with, and Barzal kind of clipped his skate, and he went down, skates in. Vasi makes the first save, and then Boquist comes in and puts the rebound in, and like, where's everybody else? I mean, it's just no back checking at all from the rest of the team. And we've seen this, time and time again, that every time the Bolts make a mistake and they're paying attention to the puck, they're not looking around. Chief talks about this all the time and leave guys wide open, and Vasi gets hung out to dry. And Vasi was great again, but they get a point out of the game against the Islanders, who, by the way, came in having won 6 in a row, now 7 in a row. They've been red hot, hottest team in hockey. Yeah. So I didn't think they played a great second, although they had some great opportunities. Just a lot of great opportunities. They just can't score.
They started the game out, I think, tremendously well,
really
especially by their standards lately, the way they've been starting games. And, they had the shutout win against the Kings on Thursday, and I thought, okay, let's start building something here. Let's start.
But they still missed a lot of opportunities in that game.
Yeah, exactly. And it's funny how we're talking about how, like, the Lightning can't score, And they sit here today and they got the 4th highest goal differential in the league.
Yep.
Only 3 teams have scored more goals, or 3 teams have scored more goals than them, and it's the top 2 teams in the league, Winnipeg and Washington. And then I think Vegas has got them by 1. Like, it's so crazy. It's like they can't score goals, but at the same time, they're among the scoring leaders in the league.
Because they've been so good.
It's because they were so good at the beginning of the year. And like we said, there were a bunch of analytical numbers that told you that they were going to regress at some point.
Yeah, their shooting percentage was by far the best in the league.
Yeah, I didn't know it was going to come down this far. And then the other thing with the Lightning, I mean, it's the same thing we've kind of been saying. I mean, they have to make a move at the deadline. I mean, you've seen teams, I mean, the Rantanen deal that shocked the NHL last week. JT Miller just went to the New York Rangers, and oh my goodness, the Rangers, I think, are going to find a way to get back into the thick of this now.
Yeah,
I really do.
He's playing really well.
He's played really well now that he's gotten away from
another ex-Lightning player.
Whatever that drama was between him and Elias Pettersson in Vancouver. One had to go.
Yeah.
Miller now back in New York, and he's got 4 points in his first 2 games. So they're a player now. I think the Lightning need to make a move. Not saying of that caliber because they really can't, but they need somebody in that bottom 6 in the worst way, man.
Well, interesting to note, Isaac Howard, their 2022 first-round pick, is tearing it up in college hockey at Michigan State. The Spartans are ranked number 2 in the nation. He's the leading scorer in the nation, leading goal scorer with 20, leading points with 39, 1.44 points per game, number 1 in the nation. We've seen some of these kids that are dominating college hockey come right in and make an immediate impact. You talk about, and you can move him into the top 6, and I think he'd be really good.
I think,
and then move somebody down, and you get, you improve the bottom 6 by putting guys, moving down where maybe they're more comfortable or better suited, and then go add another forward. Because I think defensively they're pretty good. I think they're going to be, especially when Moser comes back. I think they're fine defensively. But I think they're going to make a move. I don't think JBB stands pat. I don't think there's any way that happens.
No, I think you owe it to you. You're still in your win now mode and window because of the veteran players you have. The high end talent is still there, but you need to supplement that a little bit because again, it's not like these guys in the bottom 6 don't do things well. Like Glendening plays a nice role on the team.
Yeah.
Gergensen has done everything you could possibly ask of a guy playing on the 4th line, playing 8, 9, 10 minutes a night, probably it is.
Yeah, but Atkinson's
he's got
terrible.
Goals. Atkinson, the problem with Atkinson is he's a guy that is 35 years old, so he's well past his prime now. He's very small, so he's not going to give you anything in the forechecking standpoint. And because of that, when he was in his prime, he was a skilled player, and now he can no longer play in the top 6.
Yeah, exactly.
You're asking him to play on the 4th line. It doesn't work. And by the way, I actually thought he screwed the Lightning over big time on a Saturday night. Late in the game, I think it was like 4 or 5 minutes left. Whenever there was the big hit that was going to result in a 2-minute penalty.
Yes,
and the Lightning needed that badly because they were still chasing a goal. And I understand you want to retaliate and everything, but nowadays, if you're the one who initiates the fight, which is what he did. Now you're getting an additional 2.
Yeah, but come on, that was a dirty hit.
I know it's
on Gensel, almost crippled him. By the way, he got his face up at the last second as he gets boarded from behind. I was actually sitting about 5 rows back, right in that corner, and I felt that one against the boards. Yeah. That was a tremendous hit.
Yeah,
and a dirty hit from behind. How does that not result in a Lightning power play? Come on, I mean just.
It probably should. I just felt like I understand, like, if it was any other part of the game, you probably would, initiate the fight.
Totally overthinking that. Yeah, of course he's going to come in and do that for his player that just got freaking boarded and almost killed. I mean, my God. Come on. Anyway, that's not, but the power play suddenly, not so good. 0 for its last 8.
Yeah.
So now if we got the power play. And then Cooch scores. Off a skate, they finally get one in,
luck, yeah.
Little puck luck, so they get the point. So that's awesome. You, at this point, you need every point you get. I think 5 points separates 7 teams in the Atlantic. It's ridiculous how close it is.
They're now officially 1 point out,
right?
Columbus and Detroit, but they have 2 games in hand.
Yeah. So I'm not worried about them getting in the playoffs. I'm really not. I'm really worried about them finding the right pieces on the trade deadline because everybody's going to get better. You already saw, as you mentioned, the Rangers, everybody's going to get better. Everybody's going to add something. So if the Lightning stand pat, they got no chance, in my opinion.
I agree.
And I think Isaac Howard can give him a little something, right? I mean, he can come in when the season's over, right?
I want to say he can because I have to go double check it, so don't take my word for it. But I feel like Toronto did something similar with Matthew Nyes.
Yeah.
And then he played in that playoff series against the Lightning.
Yeah,
I want to say.
It's really good. Yeah. Yeah. So that could be, and then go out and get somebody, and maybe a couple.
Yeah. Because I think when you get JJ Moser back, that's going to make Lilleberg the odd man out anyway. And he's obviously very struggled. I mean, that's well documented. He's struggling out there right now.
Mm-hmm.
He'll be the odd man out. And then I feel like, okay, you got enough back there. You can get by.
Yeah.
Vasilevsky's playing better than he has in the last few seasons. I think you're good there, but you just need more scoring outside of that top six.
Yeah. And just more balance. Because as we know, the more balanced you are in the playoffs, the more success you have. You can get those third and fourth lines going.
Because at one point I looked at the lines the other night, and it's like, Nick Paul's having to play with, I think, Gonsalves and like Asamon or something, and he's just not generating much,
Yeah, and, you look around the league, everybody's top heavy now. You're not getting a whole lot of lower, but that'll change because when teams start falling out, you get the player movement, and it thickens up everybody's lineup. So, this, like what you see right now in terms of where the Lightning are at and where the other teams are at is not, it's going to change. It's going to change dramatically. It's starting to change. And as these deadline deals get done, the Lightning need to change. And I think whatever they add, I'm very confident JBB knows this team and knows what they need and knows how to go get them. He's got some more flexibility now. They've kept the numbers low on the roster purposefully so that you can build up cap space with that and use every dollar. So it's not just, dollar in, dollar out trades that need to be made. So he's got a little bit more flexibility. So I'm looking forward to that. All right. Before we go, the Luka trade for Anthony Davis. I didn't see that coming. I was like, wow, that's pretty, that's as big an NBA trade as I can ever remember.
I think it might be one of the biggest moves in general, like in sports that I can remember.
Yeah.
Like I was starting to think, I'm like, is there any like a move that just rocked the entire sports world? And I guess like you were alive for this, but I don't know how much you were following hockey at the time, like the Gretzky trade.
Yeah.
In his prime.
That was the biggest trade of all time.
That was the biggest trade of all time. But that I feel like I've seen documentaries on. I think that was building. Like there had been weeks of discussion of this, months maybe.
This came out of the blue.
Just came out of the blue at 12:15 on a Sunday in the middle of the night. And everybody thought that the most credible reporter in the NBA had been hacked.
Yeah. So what do you think LeBron's role in this was?
I mean, according to the reports, LeBron wasn't even informed about any of this until after it happened and everything. And that this was just Rob Pelinka was presented with the idea and he made the move. And I mean, if you're getting a chance to go get Luka Doncic, who has 5 all-NBA teams that he's made in 6 years, which is like unprecedented in NBA history, you're going to make that move. Like, I understand it from the Lakers standpoint, from the Mavericks standpoint, and all the things they're putting out about conditioning and his weight and what it is. I think there's some reports that he's up to 270 or something, which seems really hard to believe.
Well, he hasn't played since Christmas, right?
Yeah.
He had that calf injury.
Yeah, and now he was eligible for the Supermax, and I guess that was where they were hesitant to give him that. And
that's going to cost him like $116 million.
It was going to be $69 million per was what that Supermax was worth. Now that he's on the Lakers, it's $57 million. So Luka actually is going to lose a little bit on that. It's still $57 million, mind you. He's fine. But I guess that's where Dallas was. But I almost feel like both teams got worse.
Yeah.
In the short, at least right now, because the Lakers are the 4 or 5 seed in the Western Conference, and they have no bigs now.
No big. Yeah, that's going to be weird to see how they play.
And Luka and LeBron both operate. They want the ball in their hands. They want to facilitate. I don't know. It almost seems like it might clash.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how that whole thing works out. What the dynamic is. Although LeBron, look, he's a facilitator and he is versatile. Obviously, even at his age, he can do whatever he needs to do. So they'll figure it out. They'll be good. I just don't know how good they'll be defensively. Like defensively, they're going to be really bad.
Yeah, and I feel like the NBA, like some of the top teams now in the league, like the Clevelands of the world, like the
Did you see what they did to freaking
to Dallas? I mean, which was just very apropos. I mean, of course, and you had Dallas fans.
50 points in the first quarter, 91 points at the half.
Yeah, Dallas fans the entire time were not watching the game. They went to American Airlines Center to protest. I saw 2 fans came together wearing black suits and holding a coffin and set it down out there, and they were playing "See You Again" in the background, like they were having a meltdown over this.
But to me, the most impactful trade was, though, De'Aaron Fox going to the Spurs to play with Wemby.
Oh.
That team now, hello.
That's a hell of a duo right there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Fox and Wemby, and that's going to be together for a long, long time because now they're going to give Fox the Supermax.
Yeah.
Wemby's there. And then they kept all their other like role players like Devin Vassell for the former Florida State, Stephon Castle, who they took in the first round this year out of UConn, I believe. Like they kept all their players. They got great value. So the NBA continues to be so much better off the court than it is on it, isn't it?
Yeah.
It continues to be that way.
So did you watch any of the Grammys last night? I haven't watched the Grammys since in a long time.
I didn't know the Grammys were on. I was too busy watching the Clash instead for NASCAR last night.
The Clash?
Yeah, the opening 2 weeks before the Daytona 500, the exhibition. They did it at Bowman Gray Stadium.
In Winston-Salem?
Yes. First NASCAR.
Bowman Gray Stadium.
First NASCAR race.
They used to cover Winston-Salem State there or whatever. No. Yeah, I think that's what
that's
it was.
Winston-Salem State University.
Yeah.
It's a football field with a track around it. First NASCAR race there since 1971.
Holy crap.
So it was one of those grassroots thing, you know. It was a great event. So I was watching that last night, but then I go on Twitter. Grammys were trending. And I saw that Beyonce won the country album of the year. Beyonce. And I was going nuts. I think Case was tired of hearing me yell about it last night on the couch.
Probably.
Because if you've listened to the show long enough, and every now and then I come on here and I drop my country music passion with you, and I'm very passionate about my country music. Very passionate about the history of it, how it's such a unique genre. They tell stories. It makes you feel something. I love my country music.
Yeah.
And last night, whether or not you like the Grammys, don't like the Grammys is still like probably the upper echelon of where we recognize the artists that have done something for the entire calendar year.
Mm-hmm.
And for Beyonce to win that award, I just felt like, from a country music purist standpoint, I feel like it was a slap in the face. Because number one, it wasn't a country album. And Beyonce herself said over and over that it wasn't a country album. So how is it winning the country album of the year at the Grammys?
Cowboy Carter.
Someone needs to explain this to me.
I'll be honest with you. When I first saw Cowboy Carter and listened to the songs, I laughed. I was like, let me say this. I think Beyonce is incredibly talented.
I do too.
I loved her music, and her performing is just like, you cannot watch that and just go, holy shit.
Kendrick Lamar will not top what she did on Christmas Day.
No, that was insane. Like, she is one of the greatest performers, and you may not like her, but you cannot say that she does not light the house up.
Right.
Like, it's just incredible. Dancing, singing, everything. She is unbelievable and gorgeous. That said, when I saw the Cowboy Carter, I was like, is this a parody? Is she making fun of country music here? I think she is. I think she's making fun of it.
I don't know.
Because it was twangy.
She said something last night.
And I was like,
when she accepted the award, she said something about how, everybody likes to put us in a box of what genre you could be in and all that kind of stuff.
Which is true.
Which I guess is true. It's like, if you're going to come into country music, though, I guess maybe I'm being the gatekeeper here. I want to make country music.
It's so the lines are so blurred anyway. Like, what is country music anymore? Like, it's so blurred, which is kind of okay. And first of all, music is totally individual. Like, you like it or you don't. The beat is good. It's not good. You like the voice. You like the artist. It's so personal. Like, and all the lines are like, I don't even know why we have categories anymore. Like, what is R&B? What is rap? Like, everything is so blurred because, Taylor was once country and now she's pop, and then she's go back to, like, every song is classified. Is there a certain beat that makes it Latin? Is there a certain beat that makes it rap and R&B? It's like the lines are so blurred. So I'm not going to get all upset about it. It's just funny to me. But John Rich put something up of Big and Rich, and he said, folks are asking me, how do music award shows work? He says, labels, publishers all have blocks of votes. They make deals with each other. You vote for mine, we'll vote for yours type thing. It has zero to do with who made the best music, thus Beyonce winning country album of the year. Nice, right? The same thing is true with the CMAs, the ACMs, Billboard, etc. all work exactly the same. Last night, the Grammys outed themselves in a big way. And they did the whole thing of, how the Weeknd came in there and criticized them for their membership and who was voting on these awards. And it was too white. It was too this. It was too male dominated and all this, which I think he made great points. And now they have 13,000 people that vote on these things. But they're also, like he says, it's politics and money. And right. Jay-Z spent evidently $20 million to have her songs streamed on Spotify and all this other stuff. It's like, who cares? Who cares about the genre? And having your opinion on it is great. It's great talking about the music. And I there's a lot of people that agree. But I think a lot of people are getting really bent out of shape about, well, she's not country. Like, what's country? And I think she's making fun of it anyway.
And I don't appreciate that. I do not appreciate that.
And some people are talking about appropriating cultures, white and black and white. Look at her. She looked like the whitest woman there last night with her hair. And you know what? She looks beautiful, but who cares?
Yeah, it's nothing against.
Why do we have to label everybody country, pop, rock, R&B, black, white, blue, purple? Well, you either like it or you don't. I think those quote her country songs are terrible, but the rest of her music is amazing. Like, there's just certain songs I like and you know what? I'm not right. It's my taste. I am right. I'm absolutely right because that's my taste in music. It's as personal as your taste in food. A lot of people don't like steak. A lot of people don't like, sweet potatoes. Does it make sweet potatoes bad? Because no, it's all personal taste. And it's the same thing for music. But these awards show, I just look at the performances and I say, oh, that was good or that was weird. Like, I thought Chapel Rome, her song last night and her performance was amazing. I thought it was the best thing I saw on the show last night. It was incredible. And I think she's incredibly talented, like really, really good. I think her music is snappy. It's fun. It's great. And by the way, the best rap album went to, I'm probably butchering the name, Doechii, a girl from Tampa.
Blake High School.
How about that?
Yeah, and
that's
saw
huge.
How emotional she was.
Yeah, that's huge.
And I like that. I like the Grammys made her because I've never heard of her. And granted, I'm not the biggest.
Which is a shame, by the way.
Yeah.
How does a girl win best rap album and is not a huge part of our culture here in Tampa?
Yeah,
not that like I'm hanging out in the rap club.
That's what I'm saying. I'm not.
I should at least have known.
I'm not the biggest rap fan, but I had no idea who she was. But now the Grammys, now everybody's gonna know who she is. Her music's gonna explode for those who don't know her.
Yeah,
like it's still a star making event.
Yeah,
and I guess where my angst comes from to wrap this conversation up is I know that there are so many country artists out there that are busting their ass to get their music out there and have put out great records.
I get that.
That feel very 100% country, and they're not recognized. And it's not just by the Grammys, it's by the CMAs, it's by the AMCs. It's all about who's on radio.
That's why I wanted to read that thing from John Rich. It's all political.
That's why the lines are blurred of what's what. It's because country music has allowed this to happen for way too long, and now people hear the radio music and they go, "Oh, that's country music." No, it's not. It's not.
Shabuzi country music?
No, absolutely not. But you know what the counter to that is? Some of the music that I love that we call country music from back then, like the Ronnie Millsaps of the world, would I call that hardcore country? No.
Yeah.
No, not really.
Rascal Flatts, is that country? It's kind of pop.
It's kind of poppy.
Yeah. Yeah, but good. I love it.
Yeah.
I love it.
Hell, even Kenny Chesney, does he make straight country music? No.
It's more.
He appeals to everybody.
It's more Jimmy Buffett-ish.
Yeah.
But is that Jimmy Buffett is considered country? What?
Right.
To me, that's a whole genre. It's like island music.
There's no exact science to
right,
it,
exactly.
But at the end of the day, she had the highest selling album in country music in 2024, and she won the award.
And there's a goat. Who bought it? Who sold it? Was it Jay-Z money? Like with streaming? Like all of that stuff. Who knows? To me, when it comes down to music, is you either like it or you don't.
Right.
And it's what's best, who's best. It's kind of silly, really. Who had the best record? Like, I don't even, what's the difference between record of the year and song of the year? It was like almost the same exact people. Like, what's the difference?
Yeah.
Record of the year and song of the year. What the F is the difference? It was like the same people, same songs. Whatever. That's and to get bent out of shape about it and, and like, this wasn't true, is a little over the top. She's an amazing performer, but But that country stuff is awful. Country songs are awful, in my opinion.
Because they're not country songs.
They're not. Well, it's like her making fun of country music because that's what I think it is. But whatever. That's my opinion. It was there were some great performances though last night. I thought there was some really cool stuff. That the new guy, what's his name? Ben Benson or Brooke Benson?
Ben Benson, something like that.
Yeah, dude did a freaking flip off the piano and then did a standing backflip while he's singing in this unitard thing. I was like, but he was good. I mean, that was like, holy, that guy can sing. It was kind of cool. And last one I'll talk about is Teddy Swims. That dude's voice. I mean, you don't like him either, do you?
Well, I have a bone to pick with him too because the CMAs allowed him to come on our show.
Our
show, and they allowed Teddy Swims to sing some.
You're now the gatekeeper of country music, are you?
I am the damn gatekeeper, okay? Because my guy Zach Top couldn't get a damn set on the CMAs, even though he put out the best country album of the year, in my opinion, of course.
Exactly.
And Teddy Swims gets to come on here dressed like a cowboy, probably making fun of the genre too, by the way, and sing a crappy song with Thomas Rhett, who also sucks, by the way. Yeah, so I'm not a Teddy Swims fan.
And this is what makes music. We got to do a whole hour on just music.
I need a music podcast on the side in the worst way.
All right, let's do that. We do that. All right. We went way over. Tim's going to be so mad at us. He's got to edit today. I'm going to edit out all that music crap at the end. That's good. All right. Thank you guys for joining us. Appreciate all you guys. I forgot to mention Dakota J, the Jets motivator, who was in here today, and you had some great stuff. Sorry we didn't get to you today talking about the poor Bills, and you're absolutely right. But thank you very much for jumping in. We'll get to you. He called Liam Cohen a goofball. You got that right. Thank you to Dakota, Jets motivator, whatever you are. Thank you very much for jumping in. Thank all of you. We'll see you tomorrow. Scott Reynolds will join us, and we'll get his Senior Bowl perspective. Will join us tomorrow. See you then.